This is on my right. Delegates are persons that are wearing the green tag. If you're a delegate, please, there are seats reserved for you over here at this side of the auditorium. Over here at this side of the auditorium.
Students here present, can you clap for yourselves, please? I welcome you all to this momentous occasion of our first conference. We've also been blessed in DNA sciences. So there's a lot of academic activity that can be harnessed in the college. Also are being trained to be healthcare workers in various fields so that we can come together, rub minds, and then showcase our own impact on what we are doing to the betterment of mankind. This conference is hosted outside Benin so they can participate. In other words, all our participants are not just from University of Benin. We have participants from elsewhere, and we are glad to have them. We look forward to it. It's always my pleasure to announce to us, for those who are not aware, there are new lecture halls springing up and a block of offices right at the University of Benin Teaching Hospital. This is unique in itself in that the previous administration has shied away from doing anything in the teaching hospital. She has brought these mighty interventions for which we are very grateful. We are also acknowledge the enabling environment for us to thrive as we practice our various trade as healthcare workers. The theme of our conference, Medical Education and Brain Drain, Implication for Health Workforce Development in Nigeria, speaks to the prevailing circumstance in the health sector just now, and actually speaks directly to the Japan syndrome. This topical issue, along with others, will be discussed in the plenary sessions. We are glad to have in our midst the keynote speaker, Professor Desogan Fatosi of the University of Medical Sciences, Ondo State, an erudite scholar, and to do justice to the topic. We are equally grateful to other guest speakers, among whom is the past Vice Chancellor of Abruzali University, Professor Akolaho, another academic giant, and Professor Friday Okonofwa, our very own, the immediate past Vice Chancellor of the University of Medical Sciences, Ondo, and currently the Center Leader of Excellence in Reproductive Health and Innovation. Can we clap this? The scientific sessions will take place or have started taking people, particularly yes, to make this conference happen is deeply appreciated. We also appreciate other members of the committee for the wonderful things they have done. For our able Deputy Provost, she has been exceptional in ensuring that this conference takes place. I'd just like to say that as per a Deputy Provost, one could not. We are pleased that over 100 persons and counting registered for the conference, and awards will be given for the best outside the college and the best postgraduate abstract. So there's a lot to be won. Abstract and subsequent edition. I must extend my gratitude to the past provost who have laid delicate and important building blocks that has created the enabling circumstance for this conference to happen today. This address will be incomplete without acknowledging the financial and moral support received from the center leader, Professor Friday Okonofwa. In this wise, he has been a big brother to the college. Thank you so much, sir. We also acknowledge the support too from the medical director of the Uselu Neuropsychiatric Hospital in Benin and the many medical directors of many health facilities in Benin City who have come to our aid to make this conference a success. I must thank the many lecturers, especially the senior ones, who by their act of registration alone encourage so many others to join. I also appreciate the boss in the WhatsApp platform. Just to see people excited about this gladdens my heart. But I know that your participation is important to the college and to this conference in particular just now. Finally, I now invite you to loosen your seatbelts, relax, and enjoy the conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think the provost deserves another round of applause. Thank you. We will now receive a performance for 5 minutes only from students of the University of Benin Theatre Arts Department. Please put your hands together. 5 minutes is what you have. Thank you.
Ah by eminent scholars and professionals. We acknowledge especially you for coming to contribute your wealth of knowledge and expertise to the work of our College of Medical Sciences. I urge you and gentlemen, recommendations that will come out of this conference, no doubt, should have the potential to reshape the future of medical education and contribute to the general well-being of our society. It is on this note I declare this conference open. Thank you.
Please put your hands together. Wow, what fireworks. Thank you. Vice Chancellor deserves another round of applause. University, Ondo. But before his lecture, I'd like to call on the Deputy Provost, College of Medical Sciences, University of Benin, Professor Vivian Omwene, to do a citation on the chairman of this occasion, our transformational leader, who is the award-winning #1 Vice Chancellor in Nigeria, Chairman of the Committee of Vice Chancellors of Nigeria, highly esteemed principal officers of the University of Benin here present, the Provost, College of Medical Sciences, special guests, deans and directors, the UBTH management team, highly esteemed academic and non-academic staff of University of Benin, esteemed conference delegates, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, great university students. It is with utmost humility and rare privilege to be the one reading the abridged citation of the College of Medical Sciences of our great institution. Madam Chair, VC Man, please permit me to ask the keynote speaker to rise. Thank you, ma'am. Adeshegun Olayiwola Fatusi is health and development, sexual, reproductive and maternal health, and health policy and strategic leadership. He is the current Vice Chancellor of the University of Medical Sciences, Ondo, in Nigeria. Nigeria's first specialized was a Director of International Research with the Godmaker Institute, New York, United States of America, here in Ife, Nigeria, including being the Provost of the College of Health Sciences, Director of the Institute of Public Health, Director previously worked as a reproductive health principal investigator of 26 externally funded projects and published over 100 peer-reviewed journal articles and have over 12,400 citations. He has supervised 16 postgraduate medical fellowships in health. Professor Adeshegun Fatusi has served on several key national, regional, and global setting agenda bodies. Among others, he is a member of the Technical Advisory Group on Reproductive, Maternal, Newborn, Child, and Adolescent Health for the World Health Organization African Regional Office, and is also a member of Nigeria's National Technical Working Group on Adolescent Health and the National President of the Society for Adolescent and Young Early Adolescent Study, an international longitudinal study spanning 5 continents. He has served as the lead expert for the development of 13 national policy-related documents on adult international and national agencies. Professor Adeshegun Fatusi graduated from the Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife,
Nigeria in 1987 with a Bachelor of Medicine, Bachelor of Surgery degree, and has a distinction community of peace. He won the award for the best candidate in the 22. He graduated from the International Master of Public Health Program of Hebrew University, Hadassah, Israel in 1995 with a summa cum laude honors, and obtained the fellowship of the West African College of Physicians in April 1995. He also has a PhD degree in public health from the University of Fatusi, was a past population leadership fellow at the University of Washington, Seattle, USA, and a visiting scholar at the Gates Institute for Population and Reproductive Health, Johns Hopkins University, Baltimore, USA. He's also a fellow of the Nigerian Academy of Medicine and the Nigerian Academy of very agreed citation. It is my singular honor to present this unassuming, quintessential gentleman with a calm disposition, a teacher, an administrator, a public health physician by excellence, and a big brother. Let's rise and make welcome our keynote speaker for the first scientific conference on the College of Medical Sciences of our great institution. Professor
always known how to have great staff around. The chairman of this occasion, my very good sister, truly a visitor, truly a transformative leader, a woman who left Ondo many years ago, and yet you have not forgotten that she was in Ondo. I'm sure it's good to come, you understand our people more than ourselves now. It's so good to be in your territory now, and thank you for the very warm welcome. I had a wonderful night in the accommodation. Other principal officers of the university, the program that has been very well established. But that said, it will be totally improper if I don't recognize a couple of people this morning, just before I go on. And first among them is someone who I have tremendous respect for, a senior all the way back in the medical school, a senior in the University of Medical Science. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, Professor Friday Konofa. It's a great pleasure to bring you on a wonderful platform our foundation will get behind for us in Ondo. They try to sort out issues by own. Let me also recognize this morning Professor Balogun, who was also a teacher back in our school in Ife. Good to see you, sir. I was once in university in the US. Benin is home to me, it's really, really home, and I mean that. I spent part of my early career here in Benin. I was working in the private hospital. I served in Benin, was working in the private hospital. So coming back to Benin is always a very great pleasure. The other thing that made Benin such a great pleasure is I have very wonderful people that I know here who are like mentors to me. And this morning I woke up to two calls from two of such big aunties, Professor Kodne and Professor Isa. Fantastic, wonderful aunties I will always appreciate. I don't want to spend the time just saluting everybody I know here. So let me recognize that HOD who I'm sure is here, Dr. Obi, recognize our president in the Association for Public Health Physicians of Nigeria, Professor Sarah is also here. And I want to thank very sincerely this college. Thank you, Sir Provost, Professor Don. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. And thank you, Vivian Umemo. I also must recognize the first man of the college. If the wife of the provost is the first woman, the first man must be the husband of the deputy provost. I'm sure you agree with me. And I want to thank you very much. She was around to welcome me yesterday, spent some time with me. I deeply appreciate that. This is ladies and gentlemen, I bring you greetings from the University of Medical Sciences. Proudly, Nigeria's first specialized medical sciences university. And we are proud to say we have the largest collection today of health and medical sciences courses within the Nigerian health system. So this morning, I'm so glad to be here, and I want to congratulate the college for initiating this. This is something we must continue to do, as part of our growing up together, and I've been getting to this topic this morning. I'm sure we are all familiar with this issue, very topical. Talking about the Japa syndrome. I've been trying to find out where the word Japa even came from. I've not been able to discover. But every time we read about this issue, and we talk about it, we talk about it in the realm of the services, the health workers who are not there and all that. And we often do not remember, or the Nigerian public and government often do not remember to think about the implication in the context of the workforce this morning. For me, the issue of service is important, but it is nothing as important as the workforce development. Why do I think so? You know, if it's about air services, there are many other alternatives. As far as Nigerians are concerned, they are not the only one. I intentionally block this so I won't see everything here. This is Chief Minikaya, family of health. It cures all kinds of sicknesses, including the spiritual one. If you are poor, you can cure it. If you want to get visa and you can't get it, you can cure it. If you want to travel abroad or you have a case in court, you can cure that problem. There are none of these people around. And many of us will be there. As long, if it is services, plenty people to service them. However, they cannot train the doctors we need. They cannot train the nurses we need. They cannot train the laboratory scientists we need. And that's why it is important to talk about service is far more important, particularly for a university and a college of medicine to think about the dimension. Of course, there are two angles to this and they are interlinked. Even though I said the greater emphasis should be on the network development. But you can't talk about the workforce development without talking about service. Because people are not trained to serve, they cannot be trained to be teachers. And so the two are totally interlinked, and I'll be considering them in that respect. Like I did say here, when you think about human resources in health, it is the cornerstone of the health sector for everything we want to do, to give services, to everything we want to do, including developing human resources. On the other hand, when you think about it, there cannot be a medical school, there cannot be a school of medicine, there cannot be any other place that develop human beings without thinking around the whole issue about human resources. And so there are four things I would like to touch on in the 40 minutes I have this morning. The first thing I'm going to talk about is to just remind you, I'm sure you're all aware, about the medical brain drain in the country, and to think for a moment about where are we going and what are the factors that are driving this. Secondly, to then look at what's the implication for the workforce development. Thirdly, to think about how far, what have we even done? And finally, what can we do? What should we do to change the scenario going forward? So let's start by talking about the brain in Nigeria. A couple of years back, 2005 precisely, I was working with a team in University of Washington and University of Ghana. And we published a paper in social science and medicine. 2005 to now is almost 20 years. And we said, talk about the fact that West African physicians have been migrating away from their home in Africa since the beginning of the 20th century when we started training. And they go in search of what they call greener pasture. And we said in that paper, the Japa, then it was not Japa, it was Andrew. I hope my issue is not here. You know, I know it's there was time that I haven't had, but then it's nothing at all compared to what we are talking in the current period. Of course, we all know the issue. Nigerians are moving out in droves and in thousands. Now, between 2015 and 2021, there are over 4,500 Nigerian doctors that have moved to UK. As of 2021, almost 9,000 doctors are working in UK there, and so on and so on. At least 12 Nigerian doctors are employed in UK every week. And please don't imagine that they are all happy. Many of them are wishing they can come back home, but it's just so difficult. Someone, because of 4 months back, the African Report started publishing a 6-part series about migration in Africa, talking about medical sciences since 2018. That was not the peak. I'm sure between 2018 and now, that will probably be a larger number. And it says, in fact, the title is the Nigerian medical doctors I knew our first set of, just a reduction of our first set of medical doctors a couple of months back, and we are privileged to have Professor Kunof give the keynote address. Believe me, the week after, parents started calling me. Have you not registered with GFC in London? Have you not registered in America? I'm like, what's the problem? What are some to go? What are others to do? In this report, it was said that when you think about nurses in Nigeria, that between 10,000 people that migrated among nurses in Nigeria in a period of 1 year. The year before was 7,300 plus. That's how bad it is. But why are these so? Of course, they are all part of the administration. That we often talk about the push and the pull factor. But there's something else I want us to think about as we talk this morning. We know that there are factors at home pushing people, and there are factors out there attracting people. And we know what they are. Push factors, yes, we talk about poor salary, unemployment in some cases, infrastructures are not there, opportunities to specialize are not available, opportunities to practice the way you want to not be there, people are not satisfied with their job, and all kind of crises between our system, between nurses, doctors, all kind of poor governance, and people feel unsafe, continuous with their children, and that's what they always tell me. They tell me, I can get better opportunity for my children. I'm always saying that's good, but you grew up here and you got some good opportunities. I'm not against anybody traveling. I'm simply saying it's so convenient to argue one way, sometimes forgetting the other way. And say that work environment, and they tell me safer environment, and I tell them I think what is relatively safer environment. If you walk into the mall, you have not annoyed the guy has not seen you before, you put a gun and start shooting everybody. What do you do? But let's hear from the doctors themselves what they said in terms of why they're traveling. This guy, he said, I must fully commend the large numbers of individuals who came out for interview for good society. They have always encouraged people to look out for other options. The Nigerian government does not care about the welfare of doctors. So the best thing to do is to look for other opportunities. I'm glad that people are gradually seeing that. Another person said, look around you. I am sure you can see old people here. This is the situation we have found ourselves. Unfortunately so, I must admit. You cannot continue to work in the business system and so on and so forth. And there have been several editorials in Nigerian newspapers. One of them came from Punch. Professionals are relentlessly and are underlying the network voting to pastors new for better prosperity. And Guardian wrote that as true as those are theoretically, they are not the complete truth. The primary reason why this is happening, the primary root cause, is the fact that in developed countries, they don't have health workers. That's the workers here. People will be here, they won't go anywhere. The reason is because those guys need health workers. They don't have health workers. And therefore it has become a bait in various ways to draw a lot of people. Nigerians are always traveling, somebody is going to stop. Nigerians are only working abroad. But the rate we are talking about is not the natural trend that we have seen, like an epidemiologist tell you. You will probably tell that there's a gap is existing outside here, and particularly in developed countries. And let me take one case study of UK. This was a report that was released by, and I want to quote part of what he said. He said, the UK, to meet the aspiration of national, we talk about the joining our workforce, to make sure there's an ongoing and sustainable supply of international doctors entering the UK office. That's an official government statement from UK. And if you take a look at the graph, I'm not sure how easy you can see it. What we find is that the non-UK doctor, that's the blue line, as it's just going up astronomically because they are not training enough people of their own, and what they're looking for is to look around the world to see who they can grab. That is important to understand exactly the international dynamics and the politics. I bet that if the case has been people coming from developed part and therefore we are disadvantaged, but we must do things ourselves to make ourselves possible to cover our own back and ensure we can provide for our own good healthcare. This is what Ibrahim Foundation wrote, Ibrahim Foundation wrote about what it costs to treat people. He said on average, it costs each African country between 21,000 and 59,000 to train a medical doctor. If you calculate what they take in Africa, even at the naira rate of 900 and something, it's almost about 21,000. Poor as they are, use their own money to train their own people. And for instance, 1 in 10 doctors working in UK come from Africa, allowing UK to save on average 2.7 billion on training costs. And it is estimated that Africa has lost about 4.6 billion in training costs for all trained doctors that were recruited by 4 countries: UK, US, Australia, and Canada. And earlier this year, WHO released a report a couple of months back talking about the countries that are most deprived in terms of health workers. And this is the statement of the WHO Director General. He said, and I quote, "Health workers are the backbone of every health system. And yet, 55 countries, including Nigeria, by the way, some of the world's most fragile health systems do not have enough. And many of those ones who are fragile health systems, who do not have enough, are losing their health workers to international migration. Is that ethical? Does that sound right for the global world? Where we think equity and equity partnership should become the order of the day. And I conclude this session by asking this word from the editorial written by Tribune. Because it's not just about health. When they take doctors, take nurses, take laboratory people, they are taking part of the cream of our society who will contribute to development in many other ways beyond the services they offer. And I think it's not talking about this medical worker, because they are investments that our country and our people have made to the life of the individual. They are living in other countries. It's simple that it's very. No nation develops without physical power. What are the implications of that for workforce development? This is where we were in 2018 when things are not very bad. According to the WHO, we had about 3.8 doctors for about 10,000 people. Do you know that some countries had up to 84 doctors for 10,000 people? And we are joined by Dr. Mbamboli at the third Akinwumi lecturer at our university. He is the medical director of St. Nicholas Hospital, Nigerian owned private hospital. And you may not see this. What is showing, you may not see depending on where you are, is showing the gradual rise that was happening in the hospital in terms of the number of health workers that are resigning every year. Travel abroad. Like 93 people are resigned. Just January to July to one, they lost 16 doctors. One hospital lost 16 doctors in 2021. And they lost 46 nurses in 2021. One health facility. Let me give you the second case. At the point in time, I've been in Universal Medical Science for 3 years. About when I was 1.5 years or thereabout, I have lost half of all the lecturers in dentistry. In nursing. So who is going to train the people? And that's the implication of using these people. Because what it means is that the capacity to train is becoming increasingly diminished. Let me give you the third one. Third case study. Postgraduate medical education. National Postgraduate Medical Education said, and I quote, that while the National Postgraduate Medical College of Nigeria and the sister colleges continue to produce medical specialists for the country and the other parts of the region, the impact of this effort is diminished by increasing immigration of qualified medical manpower to Europe and North America. And put up an advert that they're going to do exam in 9 centers. By the time people have finished applying, nobody taught them to reduce it to 4 centers. Because they couldn't just find the candidate again. So if people are not doing fellowship, how are you going to get medical teachers? And that's why for me, the services is not the issue. It's like you are not just breaking the eggs, you are killing the egg that will produce the egg. So medical lecturers are becoming very scarce. And every time I hear federal government announce Federal Medical University, half of them will get lecturers. It's not a cost. They are not paid. The whole of pathology this year, I understand, produced less than 10 fellows. Not 10 fellows. Less than 10 people did the exam from primary to part 2, 4th special. And that's the kind of crisis we are in that doesn't seem to be eating us squarely. That we're in great crisis. Because our capacity to replicate ourselves is getting diminished day by day. Alright, let me read this to you because I think this is interesting. One of those who went for interview at Saudi Arabia, the one that is in Abuja, said this and I quote her. He said, constantly the number of doctors here, I am heartbroken. She's going on, but she's heartbroken. Here, I wanted to cry. Over 90% of people you see here are consultants. Consultants are the ones who train resident doctors. When they leave, who will train the upcoming doctor? And that's a big question. Someone is continuing, but you can't blame them because we are all looking for better conditions of service. I need to be around, and I should tell Professor Bisi that you are still around. But believe me, these are critical issues that we must find a way around. A young girl approached me a couple of days ago and said, I have put in an application, I have applied to go to, mention the name, I won't mention the name of the school, Federal University. I'm like, to do what? He said, mercy. I honestly shook my head. Because I am not sure when she will graduate. For those of us who know the story, it took 13 years for Abuja to produce a doctor. I was the guest speaker for a meeting in December. It took maybe around 9 years for second set. Oshun University started in less than 9 or 10 or 11 years to graduate. That just spent like 13 years. At that point in time, things are not as bad as they are. So all these new medical schools, what do we going to teach them? How are students going to graduate? How are they going to meet accreditation issues? And we kept on establishing new universities. We love the airport. And that's what we know how to do. We know how to prove when they are failed. Let me summarize this session by saying there are 3 things we must look at, but there are 3 out. 1, the entry point to network force development. They have no reduced number of teachers, but the number of students looking for space in the medical school is so high. We take less than 5% every year. And nursing now is more competitive. Everybody wants to be a nurse. Because that's the fastest way. I was talking to a nursing student 2 days ago, and she was lamenting. She finished from me that they finished exam. They finished council exam, and council is reform. And so we are having a large number of people coming in, less number of teachers. And when it comes to the institution themselves, teachers are not just, and some people naturally just withdraw because they are tired. And so it's not just only those who are going, even for those who are remaining, the chances that they will continue, except the economy kept them there, they will leave. And we are happy that people are producing, who we are able to come to replace us, they are all leaving. And like I said, born out, people will start leaving when they are tired. They will kill me in this place. Everybody are done. We're going to have output that is less than desire, and quality will become an issue if you don't check strength. These are not well. Let me say to us that as we talk about these 55 countries that are most distressed in terms of health workers, where are they located? 37 of them are in Africa, including Nigeria. And they are the ones using their health workforce to place and what have we done as a country. I'm going to do that in 2 ways. 1, let's look at our response to the health workers migration, which is the foundation. It said doctors, exodus, and absentee president. I said the indifference of the country's duty bearers to our health sector challenge, which discounts the fact that the exodus of doctors is at the expense of the life of Nigeria, is a paradox and very famous for you. And surplus. If you have surplus, there must be effort. I was taught by biology and chemistry by an Indian teacher in my secondary school. There are surplus in their country. They have a surplus in medical profession in our country. I can tell you it is my area. They have essay. They have enough. In fact, more than enough. Okay. End of it. And I was wondering what statistic was they reading? And on what basis was it reading? And this was, at that point in time, a sitting minister of labor in our country and a colleague of ours in medical school. Ladies and gentlemen, perhaps the one that has caused the greatest uproar in recent times of interesting reason is the bill introduced by Representative Federation of Nigeria 2004. And here was his argument. He said government has invested so much money in training these medical doctors on the average. Recently, United Kingdom opened healthcare visa to people. They are all going to UK, US, Canada. So, should we fold our hand? And I wonder how many people will say to me, yes, hold your hand. I know there's a human rights argument. I can argue that. I wish there's enough time to argue that. But the question he asked is pertinent. Should we fold our hand or should we continue? Because the president of ARD argued back. He said we consider the bill. And I know ARD. We are all lost ARD. We consider the bill the total affront to the Nigerian Constitution and the law that guarantee freedom of movement and mobility of labor. The truth is that the idea behind the bill is understandable. But the bill itself is questionable. I don't know if you the argument in the House when Majabia replied that under section 45(1) of the Nigerian Constitution, that human rights can be suspended in the interest of public safety and in the interest of public health. It's written in black and white in the Nigerian Constitution. But I'm not arguing now, I'm simply presenting. So those are our three basic responses. But let's talk about the issue about reaction to the workforce. I don't know if you read it, and when you did, if you did, what did you feel? Punch reported in 2022 that the National Assembly proposes 63 new universities. 63 new universities. And almost every one of them who was somebody in the house has one in his local government. If you go to this track, that's where you find all the bills submitted in the house. As of May 2023, members of the 9th National Assembly have presented more than 210 bills to establish new educational institutions. College of Nursing, College of Health Information, just mentioning College of Research, everything. Always in their own local governments. When it comes to the issue of School of Nursing alone, there are 20 School of Nursing that were presented, and there are almost 400 School of Nursing in this country. And I like the defense of who was the head of the Health Reform Organization. Passed the law, the huge gap in doctor-patient ratio, as well as medical research and production of pharmaceutical products will be built. The question is, where will you get the teachers that will teach them to breathe? And that's the question they are not asking them. The university will also advance healthcare delivery, if they can get teachers that will graduate them. True, of course. But I saw a reply that I think was meaningful. But it is passage of a bill authorizing the establishment of Federal University of Medical Sciences and Biomedical Technology in each of the country's geopolitical zones. How thoughtless. It is shameful that the Senate and National Assembly have turned tertiary institutions into political projects. End of quote. And I personally believe that the federal government of Nigeria has no business starting any university by whatever name. When it has about 50 of them, there's no single one that is well funded. So why do you want to start another one? To start each of these federal medical universities, you probably say, I thought you had a visit of federal medical university, yes, of a state. It will be far better than what you see from Azari and from Otoko. Because it seems that they have already the resources, they have the building, they have the teacher. It's just to expand the facility. If you give a vice chancellor 2 billion, you will build a senator of 1.5 billion. The money is gone. And so you keep on truly looking at. Alright, so how do you address the challenges? what are my thoughts about this? I would like to start by presenting you some lessons from global arena, what people have done. Number one, I just spoke a few minutes ago about the report that WHO gave in April, where they listed 55 countries that are integrated distress in terms of health workforce. There are two standard definition things that WHO said. He said, number one, the global community must support those countries for personal development. And number two, they must discourage active international recruitment. The report of Director General to the last of health workers from the developing country. But who is going to implement it? When the pushers are the richest people, they are the richest country, they are in control of everything. But countries are beginning to fight back. The WHO actually said in their review that some countries, many countries, the receiving countries, have all now liberalized the opportunity to come in. Why? Because they worship labor. I got my first scholarship when I got the 1992 award from National Plenary College to go to UK. At the end of the day, it was impossible because of this issue. But now, because it pays them to bring people in to serve their system, when they are afraid to train their own people to serve their system. But countries that are using their own workers are increasingly reacting by restricting movement. Of course, again, human rights question often. Let me show you two examples of countries in Africa. One, Zimbabwe. I would like to quote the Vice President of Zimbabwe. He said, if people die in hospital because there are no nurses and doctors, and somebody has been so irresponsible, not train their own nationals, but wanting poor country to train for them, it is a crime. In fact, as far as he's concerned, he said it is a crime against humanity. To take doctors and nurses from those who don't have and let their people be dying while you carry them to service of people. He said that must be taken seriously. End of quote. You may agree with me, you want to disagree. This is a serious opinion about where we are. As I'm talking to you, Kenya is doing his bid to curb immigration. And this is another example I find interesting. Nepal and UK government reached an agreement. And that agreement, I can find online. In number 4, paragraph 3, says this, that the government will increase the number of Nepal healthcare professionals in Nepal. So in other words, as they are taking your health workers, they are giving you resources to go and train more. That sounds like and they agree that for this, the government of Nepal and the government of UK shall develop a mutually agreeable action plan to make this happen. Alright. Let me talk about focus on the future, taking back from that lesson. This is what we said in 2005, and I think it's still true. If you are thinking about the future, the reality is this. The condition that allow Christians to travel freely, or even worker from poor countries in which they train to the rich ones in which they work are not likely to change up in Japan, except stop it by deliberate action. The peculiar disparities in the economy of the two worlds to a time of create global mobility opportunity for physicians that benefit rich countries at the expense of poor ones. So, what is likely this scenario? Let me present 3 scenarios and I'll present the answer based on those scenarios. And number one, in the short term, if you don't do something drastic, will this change? The answer is no. In the medium term, will this change? Not likely, but the trend will become slower. In the long run, it will change. Why will it change? By the time the market is saturated, they will remember their visa condition and they will start looking up in directions. But to ask the question, why do I think our debt is increasing? There is still challenges about governance. There is inadequate regulation of our human resources. There is international market factors, and we still have fears about our future, and we all want better life for our children. That in the short term will make this continue. But in the long term, people will get wiser. The market will get saturated. The growth, when we get to that level, WHO will wake up to begin to regulate more. And hopefully, Nigeria's economy will bounce back somewhere along the line. And something that will also happen is what I call the Pharaoh scenario. One day, a Pharaoh will arise that does not know Joseph. So I always tell my young people, if you are going, please don't forget to move. The day they drive you, so I cannot begin to get your house. At the train station, the lingua franca is almost Yoruba. Yes, when I enter training, no, they just put Yoruba on the trainer. One day, somebody is going to get uncomfortable when they have enough people to replace us. So, what should we do for the future? I think there are three objectives that we must connect together to decide how the future should be. Objective number one, we must ensure that whatever happens, we have enough people at home to provide services. His father was sick and eventually died. So I told him, what are you going to do? It's good to be taking care of all other people's home. When your father is sick, it's Babalawo that will take care of him. So there won't be anybody around. But thank God is the God. So we must think about how do we continue to provide services and sustain to improve quality over time. And number three, how do we get some decent return for the investment we make in the life of our people who are traveling? Those are the three interconnected objectives that must drive our. It's not emotion, it's about objectives and action to achieve our objectives. I don't believe that if you do, you will see the bucket happy. It's commonsensical. Someone will tell you the bucket has human rights, they don't see it. Or the garden needs water. Or you increase the level of the pump of the water that is flowing now so that you can overcome the level that is leaking. It's just simple analogy of what we must do as a country. So how do we do that? Let's take the first one, the health workforce retention and active coverage. Number one, I don't want to talk about the bigger one, I'll focus more on one, but the bigger one, let's improve condition, let's improve living condition, work condition, salary allowances, facilities and equipment, but there must also be practical retention policy. I have been interviewed a couple of times by media on the issue of human resources and what can we do. And I tell them, as a university vice chancellor, if you are going to go on a course, you sign a bond, I will give you money, I will use to go. Why is it so difficult not to implement that in the health sector? Most of us, I would not have been a doctor if I would have had to pay school fees. My parents would not have been able to afford it. That's the truth. And you do know that many of the guys who train in those countries, when they finish, they are indebted to millions or hundreds of thousands. And so, we have already a framework that we can say, if you are going to train the government money, you must be bonded. If you don't want it, that's fine. Go and look for your money. But you must be trained with public money, you must be bonded so that you can serve the country back for this year. I think for me, there's no question about that one. It's human rights. And I believe that from research, that if you say you can serve 5 years, you can buy 3 years back if you find the money. Maybe 30 million. I think average it costs about 5 million to go to medical school. So 30 million, if you work for 2 years, you can pay 20 million back your next 3 years and go. But we must think about this as a practical reality about what we should do as a country. And we must think about how to support rural areas. We must also think about the age of retirement. If I were working in public service and I'm not in the university, I would have retired now because I'm over 60. And I keep on wondering, what are my colleagues doing now with their life? And I think that we must expand the health sector so that those who are still fit at the age of 60, 65 must come back to the system to enable us to have enough people to work in the system. We must also look for all kinds of tired workers and engage them if you can. But we must change the retirement age. It's not the retirement age of the university that we should change. It's the health worker that we should change first. Forgive me for saying that, but that's what I do. I always tell people, if you change the driver's age to 65, how many of us want 65-year-old driver to drive in? And we must destinate regional centers of excellence to become a place where people can find fulfillment. So center for pediatric cardiology. You must know why I'm talking about pediatric cardiology. Then everybody can come here and do something to keep it. That we must think about critically. Then the last thing I think we must do is that we cannot begin to think that we must have every lecturer or every educator. We must employ technology to do more of telemedicine, particularly to reach our rural areas. Or for our general, to do that, we will ensure that we have enough people, whereas there will be still enough people. Let me go to number 2, training capacity. I left medical school in 1987. There were 80 of us in my class. Today, the same school, about University, there was no ophthalmology, there was no urology, there was people are coming to teach us one way. And I think that we must think about it and expand the number of spaces so that we can increase the number of people who are graduating. That way, less of people go, the number that will remain, hopefully, will become substantial. However, we must not do it carelessly or carefully. There's a trend now that we must be careful about, and that trend is about nursing. Nursing, everybody is doing nursing now. Everybody. They don't have hospital, but everybody is doing nursing. Everybody has one, everyone has 50. At the end of the day, you're going to end up having people who don't have quality. Even a business school, I've got to approve at one nursing degree. How? So we must expand, but start compromising quality. And we must stop what I call the constituency project institutions. Just establish this school so that your people in your village can think that you have done something for them as an administrator. And rather, invest heavily in the existing university so that they can expand their facilities to take more people. We must also think about areas where there are gaps. For me, and University of Medical Science, for example, we feel particularly very distressed about medical rehabilitation. It's amazing that we have run medical school for more than 70 years from Ibadan days. And in all of that area, there is no school in this country running clinical audiology as a BS, no medical school. No medical school running prosthetic orthotics. None running speech therapy. None. Until the University of Medical Sciences established Nigeria's first faculty of medical rehabilitation, and we have courses across 5 areas: physiotherapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, audiology, prosthetic orthotics. We must close gaps in those areas. We need to close those gaps. I have talked about regulatory council that they need to be more flexible, but also realistic without compromising quality. Sometimes the argument they have doesn't make sense to me, and I'm not ashamed to always tell them this argument doesn't make sense in Nigeria today. Ladies and gentlemen, what else do we do? Our training structure also needs to become more innovative. We cannot continue to say you must somebody sit down in class. There's technology. There's no reason why we can prosper not go there for the students. There's no reason why we cannot go on the staff of the school and be teaching what they can teach from there. But the council will say they can't count him as a staff. So we must continue to employ technology to ensure that people can have access to materials. I think we must also begin to come together in specialties to develop teaching materials so that the best of the people will develop the material together and others can then deploy them in other places. So the most of professors can come together and the junior people and other schools can use that same material and they can then do some practical. That way we can ensure quality across the board. We must collaborate more as institutions. I must think about partnering with external institutions, but not in a master-servant relationship. It must be equity partnership for us to make progress. And we must give incentive for people to come to academia. That is extremely important. One of the things that I've continued to talk seriously in recent times is when I learned that my salary as a professor less than what somebody in college education has. And I'm now, what am I doing in university? And I'm serious. Polytechnic has more than professors, college education has more than professors. Why? And so when people say they don't want to call, somebody wanted to pick a job in my school, I said send your school. When I saw his place, I thought, you can't come here, just sit down your further college education. There are people jobs who told us, press more, so this doesn't make sense. And I bet you, in Nigeria, people don't know. Because there's nobody that will make sense to. But they don't know what is going to. Let me tell you the second dimension. I don't know what's happening in Ife today. People are finishing residency, they are not picking our job in university. Because the student registrar's money is more than the professor's money combined with the hospital and the ordinary consultant. And I said to myself, it makes sense. I can't japa, I can't earn good money. Am I an idiot? Keep your job. And so what they are doing now is they are picking associate lecturers and stay as hospital consultant to enjoy the money they are earning. These are getting very soon, there won't be lecturers in medical school. That's why issues we must bring up. Practical, honest issues to address so that we can encourage people to come to their academia. Last option is we must look at how do we get economic returns from the money that we invested. Nigerian diaspora, according to World Bank, generated 65.34 billion in 3 years. That is more than our national budget. And so, one of the things we must do is that we can open things up, equip us, let's produce, let's extend that, let's earn money. But let them do 5 years before they go. If they school public money. That human resources in here can become our new one. 2017, we have 0.4 billion from here, dollars. And as you see, it has increased dollars. So we can make this a big business. Let's produce, let's export, let's make money from it. And let's give up the medical schools and universities that produce people so that they can begin to produce more and can begin to send out. In 2018, the migrant remittances to Nigeria translate to 83% of the federal government budget in 2018. It is 11 times more than all the foreign direct investment. I think we must begin to think about how do we convert brain drain to brain drain. I have a colleague of mine in Leeds. He's a pathologist, fantastic guy. He's on our school staff to teach. I don't care if they counting or not, that's their business. I will have enough for them to count. While new experts are abroad. And I think we must look at Nigerians abroad, and many of them are very willing to support us. But many times we are the one that discriminate against them and we raise barriers that are not necessary. We just have 3 families left us from Carnegie Fellows that came to work because University of Medical Sciences. I think that if we open our doors as a university and we are welcoming, and we are enterprising, and we are willing, you will find many of them willing to work with us free of charge. When I was a provost in Ife, we had a scheme where our graduates can come back and run the program. But they were coming, I didn't have to pay their transport. They came on their own. All I did is pick them from Lagos, they teach and pick them back. They were in terms of health services, we must think about that in terms of training, we must think about that about even how do they invest in our institutions. Do you want to build hostels or what do you want to do? You can think about them, partner with them to develop our institutions. So that way, we get something back of the investments that they are doing in their life and their own interest and point at them. We also need to look at how can we partner with those in diaspora. And I talk about contractual agreement. This is a formula that brings together everything I have said to you in the last hopefully 40 minutes of you. I call it the rather agenda. Number 1, let's set realistic, goal-oriented policies for work-based development action plan based on clear objectives of where we are going to support. Number 2, we must have adequate investment in our facilities so that our training and services can expand and can sustain policy. Number 3, we must have technology deployment to improve learning and for service coverage. We must hire staff, new as well as those who are retired, who still have the energy to work. And those who are abroad, who want to work with us. We must create an enabling environment for diaspora involvement and for active engagement with us in what they do. And how? I wrote it before this. I didn't remember when I was writing that there's something called review. But I believe very strongly that one of the reasons why our young people are going away is that they have created an image that this nation is hopeless. I disagree. This nation is not hopeless. I told one of I told a young guy in the story is alive. When I became a doctor, I'm married to a doctor, my classmates. When I became a doctor, we couldn't afford television. I was working in Bank Children's Hospital in Sinokoro. My salary was 800 naira. I went for SDS, they cut it to 430 naira, 450 naira. I was going to get ready. I had to run back to school to come and cut local so I can raise money to marry. It was that bad. But Nigeria turned, and Nigeria will still turn. We must give them that clear picture. There's hope for our great nation. Ladies and gentlemen, my conviction is that with vision, solid policy, strategic approach, and effective implementation, we can, on the short term, convert our brain drain to breaking. In the medium term, we can stem the tide of migration, and in the long term, we can effectively control high migration effects and achieve improved vision of Nigerian people. Thank you very much.
Acting Hospital deserves a better standing position. Thank you. Just before we take the seat to our Professor Lillian Salami.
I think Fatusi is a good one. I won't have to use the Chinese version. Free of the keynote lecture. The medical education and brain drain, indication for health workforce development in Nigeria. Because we're so impressed and we think that we'll come back again. So please take this as a token of our appreciation for your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you. There will actually be a group photograph outside, but for now, everyone on the high table, including, please note that after this event, outside there will be a group photograph. Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of positive changes to his institution. Ladies and gentlemen, please celebrate the President Hospital, Professor Darlington Obaseki. Thank you. At this time, we will receive the University of Benin, Professor Vivian Omwenu.
Again, the chairman of this occasion, permit me to stand the already established protocol on behalf of the college conference staff and students. Ma'am, we have never had it so good. And we pray and we love you. Professor Adesha Fatusi, thank you, sir. I don't know what to say. And we're taking other guest speakers. Who graciously accepted our invitation to participate in this conference. Our thanks go to other special guests here today. Our Chief Medical Director, University of Teaching Hospital, Professor Darlington Obaseki, and management team here present. The MD, I think it's not here yet, but I don't know whether it's the MD of the Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital, Dr. Imasidon, College of Medical Sciences. These are directors present. We thank you for coming. Our appreciation goes to the University of Benin for your support and cooperation in achieving this milestone. We hope to call on more of you in future to be part of the LOC. For without teaching hospital from Edo delegates from UNF Enugu, in particular those of you who registered
for International Pediatrics. We welcome you, Professor Kingsley Akibe. We are glad to have you here, Professor Tosa and Ahmed. Please note, and also the CMA.
Let me also recognize the Provost, College of Medical Sciences, University of Benin. Thank you so much. And the Director of Institute of Child Health, Professor Sabi. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let me invite the lecturer for this section, somebody that needs no much introduction. If you have been present since morning, I'm sure you would have followed on how well it has been introduced. But I must say, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let me invite on a lot. They mentored quite a number of us in different ways. I'm talking about the first or premier Vice Chancellor of the University of Medical Sciences, Congo State, Professor Friday Okonofa. He's going to be talking on enhancing research capacity and productivity in medical sciences through mentorship. There's no other person to do that. Thank you, sir.
The Provost of the very distinguished College of Medical Sciences, the Deputy Provost, the Director of the Institute of Child Health, other very senior professors here present, students, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to speak over the next 40 minutes on research capacity building and productivity in medical sciences through mentorship. As you know, one of the essence of being in university, especially those of us who are consultants and lecturers, is to conduct research. Research simply means adding more to what is already known about science. And without research, there will be no new information to use to produce livelihood opportunities and to enhance development. But unfortunately, let me also let you know, a few months ago I met a Nobel laureate who told me that of all the things that are to be known in the world, maybe only 1/1,000,000,000 are presently known. That is 1/1,000,000,000. So it is only through research you can begin to potentiate knowledge in many areas. And he says the world is full of opportunities, and unless we conduct research and train mentees and we conduct research, then we will not be able to change society for the better. So, where do I direct this one? The last one. Okay, the outline of this lecture. Chairman, I'm sorry, I forgot that I did recognize when I started. Thank you very much. I'm going to first of all start about making you understand the pathway to research, why research is important. Secondly, I will talk about the implications of research for undergraduate. I'm very happy that there are so many students here, and I know a lot of students have been coming to me recently saying that they want to do research. So I'm going to talk about the implications of research mentoring for undergraduate and postgraduate training in medical sciences. And then thirdly, I will talk about mentoring, define it, and explain what it means. And then try to, next, I will talk about research, the association between mentoring and research productivity. And then I will talk about how you choose your mentors and then end up with some conclusions. So, understanding the research pathway, there's something wrong, it's not centered. You know what's going on. First of all, as I said earlier, research is the art of producing new knowledge and creating opportunities for innovations, creativity. So if whatever you are doing is not new to the literature, then it is not research. And it can be as simple as just adding one little element to what is already known. But any research that does not add to existing knowledge in your discipline is a waste of time. It's actually unethical because we are spending money and wasting money that could have been used for something else. And we know that research is so important. It creates so many opportunities. For example, if you are good in research, it creates opportunity for your peers to know you, recognition by peers. And then it's also one of the reasons that people do research, is not because they want to be promoted, I hope you know that, but rather because they have passion for solving problems. They see problems and they know that the only way they can solve that problem is to do research. Then it may end up giving you a research degree, master's, PhD, and so on and so forth. Or getting a dream job. Additionally, research may assist you to attract funding and to build a research group. And then, for example, visit some states. And then more and more we talk about global scientific visibility. So that even if you are in Benin and you are doing good research and publishing high impact journal, sooner or later people will know you around the world. And then of course, you lead to community development because research enables you to identify solutions to community problems. And then you can then help the development of the community. Research and innovation, research and discovery. Because research, you can't discover new things. Just look at anything around you, Google, the website, no, discover through research. You can probably enhance the possibility that you get promoted, and you can also add to your institutional recognition, ranking of a university, for example. If you are not doing research university of Benin, smaller universities will continue to overtake us. And of course, it will lead to your personal aggrandizement, personal development. So research is a very important aspect of development, and it is important to know that of all the institutions we have, primary, secondary, and tertiary, it is only universities that are specifically designed to conduct research, to conduct creativity. So when we hear a technical lecturer at university, there are three things he's supposed to do. One is teaching, the other is research, the other is service delivery. The typical professor in internal medicine, for example, will teach with medical students and teach postgraduate students. And at the same time, conduct ward rounds, do clinics, and a surgeon will operate in theater and so on and so forth. But at the same time, he must do research. Because if he's not doing research, then he's not contributing, he's not doing composite part of his job. And he's not helping to build the next generation of people that can do research. So that is the first thing. Now, how do we understand the pathway to research pathway? Like I said, if you look at the component of research, there are many things all of you who have to know. You have to determine your literature reviews, what have been done there. You have to develop what is called the theory of change. You have to collaborate. You have to think innovatively about new ways of thinking. Innovation doesn't mean you must discover something. It simply means doing something differently from how it was done previously. That's what it means. It's as simple as that. So don't be frightened when you hear innovation. It means you must discover something. No. It simply means that if something was done like this before, in a very simple way, for example, if students, for example, in the past, when we were putting students here, we used to do a lot of physical registration of students, and then we turned it into online registration. That is a form of research. That's a form of innovation. innovation. And the way to discover that and to see how it works is also research. So research is original contribution to knowledge. So please note that, different from what somebody else has done. So simply reporting what somebody else has done somewhere else and reporting it in Benin, it's not likely to be good research unless you have a reason to prove why that thing was effective somewhere and may not be effective in Benin. Then it must be locally relevant. I keep telling them, there are so many problems in Nigeria today that if you want to do research, you can have 10,000 ideas to do research. So if it is not locally relevant and you start manufacturing ideas that don't belong to the local context, then you are wasting people's time. It has to be a rigorous process. What I mean rigorous process, research is not for the most brilliant person. So don't say because somebody is publishing, therefore is the most brilliant in your class. No. It is somebody who is willing to spend time to read the literature, to go to the lab and really devote his time and energy asking questions. So that's why it's rigorous. Otherwise, it is not for the most brilliant. If you are brilliant and you are impatient, you can't do research. But if you are brilliant and accept and patient and rigorous in your inquiry processes, then you can conduct research. So it is creative, it is innovative, and more we're talking about internationally acceptable research. Cutting-edge techniques. So many cutting-edge techniques are now available, either in biology, in chemistry, and in physics, and so on and so forth. And these are, we really want people to plug into it. Don't be using medieval methods. Because methods used in the past, if you are in chemistry, for example, you find that every day new discoveries have been made in ways to conduct research. So, understanding the pathway to research means that we must focus on high quality research. And I'll tell you the truth is that when you're trying to do research, the time you spend thinking about the idea, asking your peers about the ideas, and developing the proposal is actually much more important than the other research itself. So it is important that we focus on high quality research that will lead to high impact publications. Publications that are in high impact journals. And there's a relationship between quality research and research funding, because it's only when you are doing quality research and writing proposals that you can get research funding and also get both national and international collaboration for research. Eventually, this leads to public engagement, because whatever research you do, you must ensure that it transfers to policies and programs to improve human living, to improve development. Every single thing that we see today, whether it's glasses, whether it's computer, whether it's aeroplane, they were all discovered through research. And they are all leading the pathway to development. So, and there are still more to be discovered. In fact, the World Wide Web was discovered as early as 1990. And I was in Harvard University when, in 1991, I left here to go to Harvard University. And then they said, oh, I'm studying computer. Before then, I didn't know what computer was all about. They took me to a lab, which was twice the size of this place, of this hall, twice. And then every single desk was occupied by students from all over the world. And then in between, we were having people, we call them technical assistants, who were showing us how to use computers. And that time, how do you know how to use computers? They put me in the computer table, showed me the computer, and I was supposed to use it. But then I discovered I was not following them. And then the TA was a very tall Japanese, one of the tallest Japanese I've ever met, came to me and said, me, you don't know how to use computer? So I was surprised that, well, look, everybody was busy doing their own. And I was just taking it there and there. The guy said, you mean you don't know how to use computer? I want to assure you, let you know that here in Harvard, computer is our fountain pen. That's what we used to write. That was it. Don't let anybody know that you don't know how to use computer. As soon as I said that, and I was still watching them to try to catch up with what they're doing, I couldn't catch up. So I just got up, closed my computer, and walked out. I went to my office, and then I told my supervisor, I said, this computer thing, I must kill it. So I went across the road and bought a laptop, the first laptop I owned. I started, for the next 2 weeks, I didn't go anywhere. I started learning computer. So, and those are the same boys who are working in that hall that discovered the World Wide Web. They were the same boys that discovered the World Wide Web. They are working that lab at the same time. So, and what they are saying now is that many more achievements will be made. Look at Google, anything you put on Google. If you put your village there, it will come out. That was the most wonderful discovery of all time. There are still many more things that are not discovered. So, the research cycle includes the planning for the research, and then opening funding. And funding can come from many sources. Then followed by gathering your data analysis, gathering your data, analyzing it very well. And then followed by publication in high impact journal, and then dissemination, including dissemination. And then that makes the cycle. So that's what we call the research cycle. The first is to get the idea between what you're doing, discuss the idea with your colleagues, and then get funding for the research plan, gather the data, analyze it, publish it in high impact journal. Let me tell you that publication is a hallmark of science, of being a scientist. If you are doing research and doing in laboratory and you are not publishing, you cannot call yourself a scientist. Because nobody will know somewhere else what you are doing. The major hallmark of science is what we call replicability. The ability to do something beneath, to describe what you have done, and for somebody in Ghana to repeat that experiment and get the same results. That's what science is all about. So, if you don't describe what you have done in a way that is understandable, for somebody somewhere else to also do it and get the same result, then you are not doing science. So that's why publication is the hallmark of science. An ability to publish in high impact journal. Don't mind the fact that these days we publish in local journal, the importance that will make you galvanize your prominence in science is the ability to publish in the highest journal in your discipline. If you continue to publish in what they call predatory journals that are never under them, but they will not come up, will not be cited, and that means your work is progress. So, now let me also talk about research. The pathway includes both undergraduate and postgraduate research. Undergraduate in this case are students, undergraduate students in medical sciences. And more, I see that students believe or don't know that you learn the art of research right from the student days. When I was a medical student at the Plenary University, we were made to do a BSc before we went to clinical sciences. And the argument was then that, they wanted to teach us things like biostatistics, research methods, and for us to actually do a research proposal before we go to clinical school. And that's what we did. I did a BSc, and I did a research, and I can remember the title of my thesis, my BSc thesis, was the role of sodium in the pathogenesis of renal hypertension in rats. So actually, anesthetized rats, and then gave sodium and tied them on the ureteric cartridge, and so on and so forth. I wrote that one. I remember one of my classmates wrote a thesis that was almost like 1,000 pages. Because of doing a thesis on anatomy. So that was what galvanized us at that point in time. So it is important that students realize that if you miss your undergraduate days in knowing how to do research, it becomes a problem. Not only are we missing undergraduate days, we are actually missing the postgraduate days. Most of our work in the postgraduate program is not as strong as it used to be. So here, I wrote undergraduate and postgraduate research. I wrote postdoc after undergraduate and postgraduate research. We got fellowship or PhD. I wrote postdoc and post-fellowship because we in medicine don't often do a PhD, but PhD is equivalent to fellowship. So whatever you are doing is the same argument. If you decide to do PhD and fellowship, the idea is that after that, you have to continue research, which is postdoc and post-fellowship research. And this is where you build up your research leadership. Because after postdoc and post-fellowship, you learn the art of research, you will train others, the art of doing research. You could be supervising others, methodology of doing research, and so on and so forth. So, what happened during the pre-doctorate and pre-fellowship period before a doctorate or a fellowship degree is awarded? And this is really for resident doctors, isn't it? Before a doctorate or fellowship degree is awarded. Either doctorate is the ultimate. So if you have a master's, you still say you are still training, by the way. So if you are a resident doctor and you are planning to get a residency, you are trying to get a fellowship in any of these disciplines in nursing, you are still learning. As a matter of fact, I had my research pathway during the time I was doing my residency. And residents should see themselves as prepared to do research. You know? So these are junior academics, and they are also early career researchers, especially those who have just gotten their PhD. And usually they have limited or no experience, what we call cutting-edge experience in research processes. What they know is what they've been taught, and it is during the postdoc period, the pre-doc period, when they are trying to get their doctorate or their fellowship, that they begin to learn. And we as mentors are supposed to mentor them through that process. And often at that time, they are often uncertain of their career path, what they eventually do. By contrast, postdoc and post-fellowship period is the period after you have gotten your PhD or your fellowship, you know, which is usually about 8 years post-PhD or post-fellowship. And you got a fellowship, for the next 8 years, you'll be regarded as postdoc or post-fellow, meaning learning more about research. So one of the reasons why this is so is that a lot of people, when they get their PhD or they get their fellowship, they believe that they are experts, and therefore they can actually do cutting-edge research. That is not necessarily the truth. These are usually junior to mid-level academics, and they are also early to mid-career researchers. And they are still learning in many ways than one. And therefore, they are still exploring various research areas, various research possibilities. And they are also less experienced or naive in getting grants to do research. Because without grants, without ability to write grants, it will be difficult for you to do very high-profile cutting-edge research. So for those who are postdoc and post-fellowship 8 years after fellowship, they are still learning that art of proposal writing. So they are also aspiring to be research leader. Until you become associate professor or professor, it's unlikely that you can call yourself a research leader. So it is those two groups, pre-doctorate and pre-fellowship, usually at the rate of residence, as well as those who just completed fellowship, that are the subject of mentorship. You need to be mentored on how to do research in more ways than one. So what is the definition of mentoring? So I'm going to mentoring now. Now it's been defined in many, many ways. A mentor, a professional relationship in which an experienced person, who is often called the mentor, assists another person in the team in developing specific skills and knowledge that will enhance the less experienced person's professional growth and development. So it's not a servant and master relationship. It's just for you to help develop the skills and knowledge of a junior colleague, either a pre-doc or a postdoc, pre-fellowship and post-fellowship in the art of doing research. It's also described, it's also defined as a reciprocal and collaborative. Reciprocal in the sense that you as a mentor can also learn from a mentee. So it's reciprocal and collaborative learning relationship between two or more individuals who share mutual responsibility and accountability for helping the mentee work towards achievement of a clear and mutually defined goals. So back in 2005, I attempted another broader definition of faculty mentoring as when a faculty member uses his experiences, knowledge, and skills to offer advice. The faculty is like somebody like me, using my experience, knowledge, skills, wisdom to offer advice, information, guidance, and support to another faculty member, so that that person will develop in his or her professional career. So that has been defined in 2005 by Beck and his colleagues. Now, this process helps develop the goals and skills of the team through a series of time-limited, confidential, and one-on-one conversation and other learning activities. You can see that the mentor is at the top of the ladder. You can see. But the mentee is pulling up so that he can be like him. And what my parents used to say is that it is where I stop, that's where you begin. So the mentor is trying to push the mentor upstairs. You can see it's a mentoring process. And mentoring is not the same thing as supervision. If I have to supervise somebody's PhD or supervise his fellowship, that doesn't make you a mentor. It's a task-bound role. When he finishes his fellowship and his PhD, then that is the end of the matter. You're not necessarily allowed, you don't necessarily have to continue. But you can actually continue after mentorship, after fellowship, to continue to mentor, meaning that you can continue to advise, but it's not always the case. So the point is that the mentor is not necessarily this capacity. Okay. So let me tell you the history of mentorship. Actually, it belongs to the Greek mythology when Odysseus was living for the Trojan War. I'm sure you must have heard of Trojan War. He asked his friend, whose name was Mentor, at that time to take care of his son, whose name was Telemachus. So the term mentor had become to mean someone who imparts wisdom to, because at that time, Mentor, the friend of Odysseus, was the one who took care of Telemachus. So the term mentor has become someone who imparts wisdom to and shares knowledge with the less experienced colleague, so that the person can rise and become like you and even exceed you. Is that okay? Yes, sir. So the impact of faculty mentoring consists of 1, improved job satisfaction. The person you are mentoring will be more satisfied and will not want to go outside the country because you guided him. One of the reasons that no one and gone outside the country is because nobody is mentoring them here. They don't even know what to do. They have no career path and so on and so forth. So the first impact is improved job satisfaction. Then the second is the enhanced sense of fitting to the environment, fitting into the profession, fitting into the faculty, what you are doing. So you need to know how things are done in the university and how things are done in the faculty and so on and so forth. And then the faculty increases the productivity of the faculty. If you are mentoring the person appropriately, guiding him appropriately, showing the pathway to success, then the productivity of that faculty will increase. And that will lead to higher retention rate. What I mean by higher, we are talking about this one, we are talking about Japan. People are leaving because they are not satisfied, they are not productive. Can you imagine somebody who's producing papers here in high journal and doing so many things here in Nigeria? Can you imagine trying to go to London? No. Because if you guys there, in fact, in our case, they tried to make me run away several years ago in UK. At that time, I was writing papers and going to Harvard. So I simply went to a place called Stoke-on-Trent. And there I was already a professor here at the University of Ife. And what they made me to do there was that I got there, they made me to begin to work on the senior house and register. That's what they did. And then there, I found out that whenever they had a major operation like fibroid, I would be one they would call out. They will not, especially if it's in Africa, they will not come near me. But I would do the operation, at the end of the day, they were ranking me lower than people I knew. I was better than. So I actually resigned from that job. I resigned from the job, I came back to Nigeria. I didn't, if I one of the Nigerians I met there, I would say, yeah, I should be mine. I should stoop to conquer. I say, I'm not having that work. I'm going back. Still confront, I run back. And I've never regretted going back. And I cannot think of today leaving here to another place. Because that's the way they overuse you and underpay you. So, if you have a good mentor there, then there will be no need for you to go outside the country. The retention rate for faculty here will be increased. So, therefore, let me now summarize what mentoring is not. It is not, like I said earlier on, it's not a tutor-student relationship. We focus on academic outcome. And teaching students now, they come and say, Doctor or Prof, what do you want? Can you explain this? That is not mentoring. So, when you are supervising somebody's PhD or master's or thesis, it is not mentorship. It is also not an instructor-trainee relationship, focusing on any skills and techniques to perform a task. For example, somebody take me through surgery to learn how to use cesarean section. That's not mentorship. But teaches how to do hierarchy. That's not mentorship. Or a friend-friend relationship. The senior colleague is my friend. I help her carry back, and so on and so forth. Which mainly focuses on personal relationships and personal issues. Outside work, that is not mentorship. Exactly. And also a relationship that is indefinite. For example, if you see somebody who says, I'm a mentor, and therefore the mentor and the mentee see them carrying back one another, know that that is not a mentor-mentee relationship. So mentor-mentee relationship is a philosophical one, a commitment to the growth and development of the younger person. A commitment to the fact that you want that younger person to be like you in the future. To expose that person to wide national, international leverages in your profession. To help the person to succeed. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you're always right. The mentor is not always right. As a matter of fact, you provide the opportunity for a mentee to respond and say, sir, it's not correct. I remember 3 days ago, I was talking to one of my mentees. And I told him, let us do this. And then I said, well, go and do greater search. When he came back, he said, Prof, what do you ask me to do? I don't think maybe it's good because this is what I found with you. I said, yeah, you're right. Let's have a meeting. So it's not necessarily true that a mentor is always correct. And if you have a mentee that is always eating whatever the mentor says, there's a problem. But one day you ask me to eat acid and you eat it, and that will not be. So the qualities of a mentor are a good listener. Listen carefully. These are very experiences in the profession. And full of practical advice. I have so many examples to give, but time will not allow me to do that. He's wiser. He point out pitfalls in your development, what you are doing, what you want to do, and so on and so forth. And then the mentor will have a mentee who came to me and said he was going to Saudi Arabia. And I said, don't go. And he's asking for 2 hours. He was the person did not even tell me before he got the job. And for 2 hours, I was explaining to him the advantages of going to Saudi Arabia and the disadvantages. And I told her if I will, I will consider the disadvantages. At the end, the guy went. Not until 3 months after that, he called me and said, Prof, what you said is actually coming to pass. So, my village people say, what an old man can see sitting on the ground, a younger person, like if you climb the tree, Mount Everest, you will not see it. So, based on that, we are looking for a mentor who is wise. And don't take a mentor, don't consider somebody a mentor who is competitive. Are you aware that senior colleagues can be competitive? Are you aware that if you get a fellowship and tell your mentor, so to say, mentor is better commander, they might actually try to discover you because he's not happy that you got when he said when he was there. Are you aware of that? Am I saying the truth to anybody? So he must choose a mentor who is comfortable with his life, who is comfortable with his achievements, who's not likely to feel threatened by your own rise to fame and stardom. Is that okay? And a mentor who's going to better. And who can provide practical guidance in many ways of life. So, let's talk about pre-job. That is pre-fellowship with resident doctors. I don't know whether there's any single resident doctor there. But what does the guidance in the research process involve? We're talking about guidance in research process. What will a mentor do for you? Guiding you in research process. First, research design. I can tell you that many of the resident doctors this time around are not familiar with research design and planning, and more importantly, the use of multidisciplinary people to help you do some work. For example, you do some data analysis. Then research ethics to meet global standards. You'll be surprised that you don't do research. I don't want to go into specific details, but I know that this is an area where a young fellowship resident doctor can bring a lot of mentoring approaches, including data handling. Then the writing of manuscript. You know, in my department, I don't know how many resident doctors have written paper before, but that's an area that mentors can help. Drafting, polishing, revising manuscripts, and I need them to assist with requirement for journals and submitting to journals. And then, of course, the submission process itself, journal selection, portal navigation, use on online resources, and so on and so forth. And then authorship criteria. Authorship criteria. Who should be the author and who should be an author? Who should be the lead author? If the paper belongs to the resident doctor, the resident doctor must be the owner of the paper and should be the first author. If he likes, he can put anybody else's name. It's his own paper. Is that okay? Because I get it from him. Then the second area of research collaboration is building collaboration and research network. This includes attendance at local international conferences and workshops, posters and oral talks, how to present papers. You'll be surprised that you don't learn that just by presenting papers and making mistakes. You are supposed to talk how to present papers. Then small research and travel grants will give to resident doctors, society and social funding. And then memberships of association societies, Society of Pediatrician and so on. To what extent can you advise them to become members? And then collaboration. And then finally, defining the career path. I have a mentor now I'm talking to him. When you finish and become a resident doctor and become a doctor, what do you want to do? There are three ways. One, you can either become a consultant and just do practical work in terms of doing consultancy job, or you go and work in private practice, open a hospital and make money, or you do research. Which one do you want to do? And if you want to, this is the time to decide. Don't wait until you start making mistakes and start doing from one to the other. You should decide how to go. Anyone decide before you guide the future. I think that a mentor will be able to help you with a team at that level to be able to decide what you want to do. Create awareness and selection and setting pedestal for future research and business. And I can tell you that for a lot of the resident doctors, they didn't know how to do research. I was talking to them about their future career. Only a few, maybe 10% agree that they will do research. And they are doing it only because it's valuable about talking to them. They say, if I don't talk to you, if I don't do research, I don't find money happening. But actually, I just wanted them to know what is valuable. That the area you focus on what to do now. If you want to be a private practitioner, go for Dr. Job, one of the most brilliant gynecologists. We are in London, when we were just finishing ONG. Actually, it was one that admitted me when I came away abroad in London. You know, he was dead bombing, and then he invited me. As soon as we were finishing and we were going back to Nigeria, we now started talking. Three of us, one of them, I think was from the East. That one said he was going to Saudi Arabia. That was the time place for Saudi Arabia was. They said he was going to this back. That guy is still Saudi Arabia when he hasn't come back. And then it was a job with Sylvester, very big man. He talked about 8,000 of time like he said he's going back to practice. He's going back to private practice. I said, what I was going to be a consultant and be a lecturer. I said, no way. I'm going to make private practice. I'm going to make money, private practice. That was it. And he has not left. I'm sure you know Dr. Joseph. That was one of the most buoyant hospitals, very active hospital in town. And he has been a private practice. I myself said I go out because I want to be in the university. I want to teach. I want to do research. So what I mean is that when you are doing residency, you must not leave your residency without telling yourself what you want to do. And if you want to do research, you must learn the art of research at the time you are doing residency. You must begin to interact with people who can teach you how to do research. Don't leave, because I've also told my residents, what I've discovered is that when they finish and they become consultants, they can't work, they do working with swag. It's very difficult to teach them research at that point in time. That's what I've discovered. My experience, let me state what I've said. Both at IFE, at the University of Medical Sciences, now, is that when resident doctors complete their residency training program and you are appointed consultant, they start working with SWAT. Even though they know full well that they did not learn research method very well as they didn't learn it. That is the truth. But you can never talk about research today. I remember one person who I asked to come and present. It was several years ago, and he was making some mistakes. I tried to correct him. The guy got so angry. I should have corrected him. He was sorry, so. Since then to that, the guy doesn't talk to me. So I also tell my residents that if you want to go into research, it's time to start learning it. Getting people to mentor you, because there's no research in a postgraduate training program. Don't let them deceive you. There's no research in it. There's no research in it. This is the time as a big fellowship student, that's the time to begin to learn how to. So what about postdoc? What do you learn when you postdoc? Post-fellowship. You are now a fellow. And then for the next 8 years, as far as we are concerned, you are supposed to be learning how to do research in 3 domains. 1, enhancing research and funding capacities. You see how the guy who presented, he told you he has gotten 25 researchers. So if you want to do proper research, to be in the front line of research, you must get somebody to mentor you in science communication, proposal writing, protocol development, research project and program design, early career and candidate researchers. And if possible, go out, don't stay. Between the time you finish fellowship and 8 years after, please find somebody to support you to go outside the country, even if it's for 6 months or 3 months. Go and learn and see. Your attitude will change. It doesn't change, don't talk to me. If one of the things I'm happy to approach very training program is that when I was a resident doctor, they allowed us to go out for 1 year. But go and learn. And that 1 year was astronomical. It was so fantastic. And I asked myself, if I didn't go, maybe I don't know where I would have been today. But the federal government, in their foolishness, let me put it that way, not wisdom, started to cancel the work they have done. So if you have become a fellow, if you are interested in research, don't just get a university appointment and you're not interested in research. If you're interested in research, try and find a fellowship position in any of the centers outside the country to help you work. So, expanding your research network, find people you can work with, international people, and I know a lot of young people are working international researchers, society memberships, member of the Royal College of Tanzania, member of the Fellowship of the, and so on and so forth, surgeons and fellowship. Join West African College of Surgeons, go to those meetings and workshops. They are very, very helpful. Listen to them. You'll be surprised you find people who are doing excellent work in Kakamado. And then research their part. You find your part. Multiple. You can have multiple mentors. You can have multiple mentors. You can ask them to mentors. And you can be multidisciplinary mentors. It doesn't have to be somebody who's a gynecologist that will be a mentor to a gynecologist. As a matter of fact, and don't choose a mentor that cannot help you. Ask yourself, this is what I want to know. Who in the world can help me teach me this? Don't say because he's somebody who respects your discipline. Therefore, he's the one you want to talk to. That's not mentorship. It's not mentorship. If I tell you the names of my mentors, you will see them later. Those who are mentoring me. Some of them are not in medicine. Some of them are not in health and gynae. You should have, for example, when I wrote my first proposal, that gave me the first grant, I was a lecturer 1 for them. And the provost specifically said, Friday, I'm looking for somebody, I just failed. They want somebody that can write a proposal. And I thought about everybody. I was teaching the class. He said, come out. You are the one I'm introducing to the IDRC to write a proposal. At that time, I didn't know how to write proposals. So I was looking for school. I went to the Department of Demography and Teaching. Professor there. I sat with him. Some of the ways I still write proposal today, that guy taught me. We stayed for months before I finished that proposal. And the proposal was funded. So your mentor doesn't necessarily have to be somebody you are afraid of. I'm warning you. Because sometimes you face people who harass you so much. They bulldoze you, they intimidate you. I don't know what I understand. I mean, wrong, but I see it. And therefore you say that's a mentor. No. It's already mentor. You're already afraid of him. That's why you call him a mentor. You have to get somebody, you won't be at university, you'll be somewhere else, you have knowledge and capacity and the wisdom and wherewithal to be able to mentor you. So, let me give you some challenges of post-fellowship mentoring. The first thing is that of all those who have finished their fellowship, only about 20% are interested in academic work. Am I correct? That the research done in 2017, published in PLOS ONE. If you do that research here and you actually ask questions very dynamically, not somebody else will ask questions, you'll be surprised that many of them will say they are interested in making money. They want to do clinical work. And the last speaker said, that people say, you don't want to lecture, you don't want to become lecturer, they want to become hospital consultants because the money we are paid as hospital consultants is much more than the money we pay as lecturers. But let me remind you of what somebody said. Salary is nothing. Salary is nothing. As a matter of fact, somebody describes salary as a distraction to prevent you from somebody from reaching his goal. They give you salary so that you cannot think about reaching your goal. If you ask government to increase your salary today, they are currently paying you 420,000 now. If you talk to them to another 80,000 now, 85,000, how many of you can survive 100,000 now? So, look, salary cannot take anywhere, that's good. But if you get yourself involved and answer work, a lot can happen. I don't want to talk more about that. Is that okay? So, a similar work was done in the University of Lagos among faculty staff. And they found out that about 80% of staff are teaching. Universities these days are emphasizing teaching. Only about 2 to 3% are actually doing research. Is that okay? Let us be frank. Teaching. And then if you are not doctors, you find out that even teaching is less than clinical work and private practice. Research is to be done. So it is your responsibility as a mentor to guide the team. I remember Professor, I don't want to mention his name, but he was my mentor. Sorry, he was my mentee. I came from Ife, and he said he was only a private clinic. So we were discussing, I don't want to mention his name, but think of him, my name is name and name. He said Friday. I said, come let's do research. He said, no, I have already done research. So by the time I now sat him down and talked to him, why a lot of time? The guy sold his clinic. In fact, I was the one that gave him the first computer. I was doing a faculty of medicine. I gave him the first computer with which he started writing and learning how to write papers. And I gave him the grant with which he started doing what we call this cancer registry. He was going from place to place until he got his, later on got his scholarship to go to the US. Got a master's in the US, doing research. And then after master's, he got a PhD. And now, I'm sure by now you know what I'm talking about. He's not coming back again. I heard that the other time. He's not doing research. And so on and so forth. So, what I'm saying is that, please, do not neglect research as part of what you want to do. You know? Let me tell you, summarize the mentoring challenge. The challenge we have in mentoring in medical disciplines. Less than 50% of us are interested in research after graduation. 50%. I'm actually doing very nice. I would have said 70%. I would have said more. Of those who are interested, only a few have had initial capacity to do research. Because we are not really trained. Our curriculum doesn't contain elements of research. If you look at it, we just teach. For example, my students sitting down here, when I say come to class, they will come and take their notes. But if I say, let's come and go to a workshop, come to a seminar where you can learn about how somebody did research and so on and so forth, and maybe they won't come. So, of those who are interested, only a few, you have to start afresh. They start afresh all the time. And most of the time, those who go outside the country are those who really learn from research. I can tell you that. So one of the reasons is, I currently have a position for 3, the university asked me to do 3 students for scholarship. I'm still looking for them, for the 3 students. And they told me to Catella. I don't want to disgrace myself by saying the name of somebody who will go there and disgrace me. But the reason they asked me to select me to do 3 names is because I sent a student to them. And the student did excellently well. She did excellently well. I will tell her, not just like time. You know what? She did excellently well. When I say excellently well, when she was producing her PhD, I sat down there, crossed my leg, and I was smiling. So they are saying I should bring somebody like Josephine. So if anybody can put to me like Josephine, and the other way Josephine was able to put that to me was to watch her. She wrote papers here. I sat down and said, Josephine, go and do that. Go to the central hospital, collect data, come and write it up. Dr. Helen here. She's going to do the central hospital. Go and collect data. He said, yes, sir, yes, sir. She came back and collected the data. And she wrote the data out. I read it. I said, Josephine, anyone I wrote this? She said, yes. She said, I just made 3 corrections and the paper was accepted for correction. So when you are looking for somebody in that university, There was no doubt at all in my mind that she do the same thing. And she passed appeal with justice. So, you must start building research capacity even when you're a student. Unfortunately, there's limited content of research in our undergraduate medical program. Research content in postgraduate training, at least in medicine, is also limited. That's the truth. And then, limited incentives to devote time to research. You don't have money for research. So departments cannot give you money, university cannot give you money, so you have to look for money yourself. And so where money is where you go to, and that is private work. So I want to say, among lecturers in the typical clinical department, 80% devoted to clinical work, 15% to service delivery, while only about 5% devoted to research. And now that I'm giving some small grants to people to do research, I also found out that even when you give them small grants, there's still a problem. So please, let us solve this problem. So how do you choose a mentor? Choose a mentor. You are the one to choose a mentor. Nobody, I cannot ask you to do a meeting. You are the one to come to us. As a matter of fact, I've seen that whenever you like a student or a good guy student and say, come on, let me work with you, it doesn't work. After 2 minutes, you abandon him. A mentor, a student chooses a mentor who is interested. You can know in developing your career. I had a student at the University of Medical Sciences who came out of his class in biochemistry. And then after the graduation, I made a speech during the graduation ceremony that I'm going to mentor her. And then she left. She followed me. She was following me. I thought just saying it was just a speech. But she followed me to my car and said, oh, thank you. She started following me. Then she didn't say, I will do your money service in Benin. She came to Benin, served to do service. And then while she was there, we published 2 papers together. This is something I published 2 papers. And now, we were trying to admit her into a master's in biochemistry. But she got another admission in this university, what do you call it? One year there, Redeemer University. And she has got her master's now with distinction at Redeemer University. Recently, he called me and said, oh, I'm got a scholarship to go to Oxford to do molecular biology. Fantastic. He's coming to see me later this week for us to discuss that process. Is that okay? Okay. Thank you very much. So, I will now say potential mentors for HOD or Dean. But remember that mentoring is not supposed to be outside the hierarchy. It's mentoring only because, it's not because he's a Dean, but because of somebody can mentor you. For department, mid-level, and then other senior colleagues can be available. Those who are available, who are visible in the field, who are experienced and mature, have high ethical standards, who will not steal your work. I've had of mentors who help you to work later on, will publish it without letting you know. Are you aware of that? Those who are good. But you must be an excellent scientist, you must be someone with self-confidence, enhance research skills, and so on and so forth. So these are the type of things that mentees and mentors should not do. A mentee should know, for example, should take initiative. You should look for opportunity to teach your mentor, since I was doesn't know. Be respectful of your time of your mentor, clarify goals and expectations. And then, because you should not be passive. You should not be disorganized. You should follow up on tasks that they are assigned and so on and so forth. The mentors will listen actively, support and facilitate networking, teach by example and so on and so forth. And should not take credit for what the mentee has done. You should not take over the work of the mentee. You should not threaten, you should not coerce, you should not use undue influence on the mentee. And you should not condemn the mentee, otherwise it's not wrong. And the mentor should also be an advocate. You know, for example, advocating for him to get appointments to be published in the journal and so on and so forth. So summary, is the last 2 slides. The supervisor is not a mentor. That's the first thing you should know. If somebody has supervised your PhD or master's or your fellowship, is not a mentor. The mentor is a leader, is a guide, is a supporter, is a coach, is a motivator. And so it is you that must choose wisely. These are our mentors. Professor Kikube, who is a physician, and not forgetting the so rest in peace. You know, I didn't know he was not a teacher in Ife, but he's also speaking me up anyway. Then we have Professor Kessin Harrison, currently in Finland. He calls me, writes to me almost every week. He talks to me about everything. If I write a paper, my time they are sent to him, Prof, can you please help me look at this? And he has recommended me for every single thing I've asked for. And Professor John J.M. Utu, Professor of Jos, who's now the Deputy Chairman of the Coastal Association of Nigeria. He's also my mentor. And many more. I just told you 3 because I want to let you know I have mentors up to now. See? And you can have mentors. But choose wisely. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Please sit down. I would like to stand on the already established protocol. I want to say a big thank you to Professor Friday Okolofua, who did justice to that topic. And I must thank the LOC for the choice of the prof to deliver that topic. You didn't choose the wrong person at all because I just read a bit of his profile here, just an abridged profile, that he has over 380 publications to his name, and he has attracted over 46 international grants to the institution. So you couldn't have chosen a different person than himself. I want to quickly congratulate our college, ably led by Professor Wilson Sadu, for putting all this together. It is the first scientific conference of College of Medical Sciences, UNIBEN. Please give him a round of applause. It's been so interesting, so enlightening, and so nice. We are far behind schedule, and I don't want to give another lecture. I thought I could summarize, but there will be no need for that because I'm sure we all heard Prof very clearly, and we learned a lot from him. Senior academics, intermediate academics, and even medical students, I'm sure you learned a lot about definition of research, mentorship, and all that. One thing that was quite funny to me is that your salary is a distraction to you. Because I don't think Prof knows when they pay salary, he doesn't know when they pay it. It's a distraction to you because through research, you can attract so much funding, you can do so many things that will fetch you some extra source of income. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why he said your salary is a distraction to you. So it's better to toe on that path of doing good internationally recognized research work and doing quality research and gaining from that. Like he also told us, your institution, you can attract a lot of funding to your institution. The webometric ranking of UNIBEN is going to go right up because of all the quality of research that they are getting from the institution. So not to waste further time, I think we need to give Prof another round of applause and move on to the next plenary session. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you. Good afternoon. Because usually after a plenary session, maybe we can give room for just one question, not more. We would have entertained up to 3, but I don't think we can take 3, just only 1 for Prof. Thank you very much. And Professor Dr. Adayamfo, yes, you are going to become a professor very soon, don't worry. Yes, question.
Good afternoon, everybody. The chairman for this session, the provost of College of Medical Sciences, and indeed the speaker who just spoke to us, Professor Friday Okolofua. Again, I'm highly excited to have been at this session. From my time as a student, I have not ceased to be highly inspired anytime I listen to Professor Friday Okolofua. and today has not been different. But I have a question, sir, because you have made it very overt now that the beginning of a mentee-mentor relationship has to be very concrete. Ordinarily, before now, I think, or I thought that most of such kind of relationship start subliminally. But just now, you have made it clear that a potential mentee will need to meet a potential mentor and formally request to be mentored. Again, this background, sir, I want to ask, in your experience, have you seen circumstances where mentor-mentee relationship that started subliminally and that didn't work out well? And is it also correct to say that all the time a mentee has to formally approach a mentor, that it always worked out well? And thirdly, sir, I want to find out, and I want you to have a word on this, because I try to imagine that some potential mentees may approach a potential mentor and get a rejection. So I want you to throw light on some of these issues I have raised. Thank you very much, sir.
So, hello, thank you very much. All of those scenarios are possible, all of them, just mentioned. Because it's possible for a relationship, mentee-mentor relationship not to work. We have so many examples of it. And I think the major reason why it doesn't work is when the expectations of either the mentee or mentor are not met. Let me give you an example. Look at the mentor relationship between the governor and the deputy governor. Look at the one between Somalia and the government. The expectations, you are supposed to be mentors and mentees, but it didn't work because expectations were not met. So, you must go into a mentee-mentor relationship not expecting more than what the mentee or the mentor can offer. Just based on principles that you want to get certain skills acquired and developed from that particular person. Not expecting anything more. I don't know how to explain what I'm saying. Well, yes, there are so many examples of mentee-mentee relationships, even academia that didn't work. People that are previously mentee-mentors started following and fighting. But you must know when to hold back. For example, you are a mentor of a mentee, and the mentee now becomes vice chancellor. You start harassing him. Oh, do this for me, do that for me. It will not work. That relationship will be filtered out as soon as possible. As a matter of fact, you should be the last person to harass the vice chancellor when you are that relationship going. The major, I know what I'm talking about. The major reason that mentee relationship fail is because of that. And then secondly, when I said you have to formally apply, it's not a formal application. You know, there's what called body language. Before you go to develop into a mentor relationship. I have somebody somewhere, and I don't want to mention it, who came like that, and then started talking to me, asking me questions, like, oh, how is this? How is that? This is it. And I started explaining. You said my email and I reply. And so later on, we developed into a mentor-mentee relationship. Exactly. But there are also formal mentorship-mentee relationships. In fact, in some US universities, mentorship is a program which they develop and they apply. And it's currently not being done in Nigerian universities. But recently, the Nigerian Academy of Science sent up that type of formal program where I was attached to be a mentee of somebody, a physician at the University of Lagos. As a matter of fact, I asked him to come here today, Dr. Adela. I told him about this conference and I asked him to apply. You know, but I don't think he applied. So, he's currently my mentee. I told him by Nigerian Academy of Science, I will have a meeting once every Saturday. We are supposed to have one 2 days ago, but you know, I waited for him, he didn't send the link. I waited for him to send it yesterday, and I said, sorry, I thought it was Saturday, so you can apply. But the truth is that, again, another thing you should not broach is the time of the mentor. So if You are calling on a Saturday when I know I was going to be attending a party and I was going to be dancing. So why should I go? And then you missed that date. So Sunday was completely off. Sorry, in this Saturday I was free on Saturday, but Sunday I was not free. So I was in church. So why should I now? So we apologized and everything. And I said, choose another date. Talking nicely to one another. Exactly. And in fact, I'm helping him to apply for a fellowship, which I recommended him for, and I have a strong feeling I will get it. So, I'm not expecting anything from him. And he should not expect anything more from me. There are some mentees who say, well, you know, it didn't help me to get promotion. Promotion came. I didn't get promoted. Therefore, relationship is. That was a relationship that was born out of somebody wanting more than what you can give. And in truth, everything must be based on truth and transparency. And please don't offer anything at all. Exactly, I have to discuss this now. And because we have a mentee program in Serbia, we are applying and so on and so forth. Including a postdoc program that we are currently implementing. So if you want to know more about it, let me know. What is the Dean of Clinical Sciences? Professor? See you. So because we discussed that thing yesterday with you. Thank you.
So the next thing we are going to do is to present. We won't let him go because he gave us a very, very brilliant and very enlightening lecture. So we are going to present an award to him, and that will bring the plenary session to a close. Thank you. So, Prof, on behalf of the College of Medical Sciences, I wish to present this award of appreciation and excellence to you in appreciation of your excellent delivery of the guest lecture, enhancing research capacity and productivity in medical sciences through mentorship. Thank you very much, Prof.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you, Professor. We'll be going straight into the second plenary session now. The theme is Artificial Intelligence in Health and Education, Implications for Future and Next Generation of Health Workers and Patients. The plenary chair is my teacher, Professor Kingsley Ahide, and the plenary co-chair is my teacher also, Professor Frank Mariage. Permitting to invite them to the podium. Thank you. So I also have the privilege to invite my teacher, my mentor, Professor Omohua Adeleye. He's the one giving the lecture.
Esteemed audience, including, I can see that Professor Konefua is still staying behind, and Professor Osahan. I'd like to, let's just proceed because time is moving faster than we had planned. artificial intelligence in health and education, implications for future generations of health workers and patients. That's the topic of that Professor Omohua Adeleye, whose profile is well stated on page 19, is coming to deliver now. So let's just receive Professor Adeleye as he comes to make his delivery. Thank you.
Thank you. The chairman and the co-organizers of this conference, in particular my provost, my deputy provost, very senior and distinguished professors of this university, members of the Senate, members of management of the university and of the college, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I am happy to respond to the invitation to give this lecture. I must say that I feel intimidated to stand here after Professor Okonofa just left here. I just don't know what to say. Maybe I should just have refused after that. But I'll try and say something so that it will not look like I didn't talk. In the next few minutes, I'll be talking about intelligence. Not the original ones, the artificial type of intelligence. So Professor Okonofa just gave us a lecture on genuine intelligence. I'm here to talk about artificial intelligence. So the difference is clear. So our concern here is artificial intelligence in health and education, implications for future generation of health workers and patients. I actually stumbled into doing this, I must confess. The provost just caught me. He asked me to help him get a resource person to do it. When I wasn't fast enough, he told me he had put my name. So you can imagine how intelligent he was in that approach. So that was how I found myself here. I only happened to have some interest in digital technology, computer science, artificial intelligence, and the like. For those who may remember, we organized an international conference here, and where's my former DVC? Yes. I thank you very much, Professor. Yes, you gave the lecture, the opening address for that conference. It was a virtual conference, you recall, on behalf of the Vice Chancellor. So maybe that's why I'm here again now. That was mainstreaming e-health and health informatics for development in Africa. So this is the outline I shall be using for our purpose. First, why are we here? We're here for different reasons, I imagine. Enjoy being part of the conference, listen, improve knowledge, and then maybe change attitude if we sufficiently saturate ourselves with knowledge. What about advancement in practice? That will just be great, so that our practice can improve, we can do research, we can teach more. But I would think that above all is to be equipped to better impact our world. That's why we're here. So hopefully, no matter the objectives outlined for this presentation, we should live with the readiness to make that impact. My objectives are to present an overview of artificial intelligence, which I will hereafter call AI, and to review its applications in health and education, then to discuss the implications of AI for future generations of health workers and patients, and then to recommend how we move forward from here. Now, what do we mean by AI? It changes from generation to generation. In fact, I expect another definition to emerge, a previously unknown definition to emerge next year. And the reason is this: if you've been following the trend in AI, the industry and the academia have been working very closely together for decades, especially in recent times. And that's because there's a lot of funding for research in AI. Funding for research in AI increased about 20, 30 years ago. It started increasing gradually, but significantly in the past 15 years. And that has led to dramatic improvement in AI-enabled services in society. So for our purpose, we'll say in simple terms that AI is the simulation of human intellect by programmed digital computers. So if we have digital computers and we pre-program them to function as if they are humans, then we are talking about artificial intelligence. It's artificial only because we're not here talking about humans. We're talking about machines. Historically, well, we've always sought for answers to questions. Even my grandfather sought answers to questions. My great-grandfather, my ancestors, they had a lot of questions about life and code, typified by the mythology that's often associated with our culture, and also finding expression in a lot of philosophical standings. The sayings and the proverbs that we all are associated with are those expressions that deliver their search for wisdom. But in modern life, that such a search reflects the fact that there's a need for plenty of data. Gone are those days when you say that, the professor had very plenty bird, white hair, long bird. That has nothing to do with knowledge or intelligence. You find you can be very young and hairless, yet you are extremely intelligent and knowledgeable. So nowadays, there are more practical and scientific approaches. And a part of the beauty of artificial intelligence is that it came from a careful integration of philosophy, psychology, biostatistics, and computer science. There is not one AI expert that you will name in the world that is not multidisciplinary, not a single one. Even the so-called father of AI, that is John McCarthy, was himself a cognitive scientist and also a computer scientist with so many diverse backgrounds. Those who could meditate on what knowledge meant and how to translate that into a demonstrable electronic form. So AI became a discipline in 1956, much after the initial works had been done by John McCarthy, who himself continued working till almost the time of his death. The major components of artificial intelligence by research priority are as listed: learning, reasoning, problem solving, perception, and language. If you look at this, you'll appreciate that they sound very much like descriptions of what humans do. And the reason why AI needed to be constructed around these concepts is to be sure that as much as possible, we are referring to those actions and expressions and communications that are related to what humans can do. If you shift away from human simulation, you are no longer talking about AI. So let's look at what these terms mean. Learning refers to the use of programs to automatically improve task performance. So, if there is an exposure to an act, and then a program can be developed based on that exposure, and that program can help to improve task performance, then it is called learning. When it is supervised, it requires initial data input. But when there is no initial input, and then you have multiple data analysis that yield patterns that can be learned from in a predictive manner, then we refer to that as unsupervised learning. Reinforcement learning involves the choice of good responses based on a reward and punishment arrangement. Now, computer systems have the ability to recognize and build for AI to recognize what is right from what is wrong. It's based on the psychology of reward and punishment, of positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement. So that idea is used to develop programs. Whenever an act is seen to be bad, the computer records it as what should be rejected and should not be repeated. So with such repeated patterns, the computer, in a sense, learns how to behave. Now, transfer learning occurs when the knowledge gained from a problem or task is reused to boost the performance of another task. So one task is performed, and the same program is able to be deployed to solve another task, a different one. That's transfer learning. But deep learning is what we really want to be comfortable with in AI, because it's part of the basis of AI. It uses artificial neural networks. And these networks are built to simulate the neurons in the brain, such that the complexity of the interconnections are mimicked. So in that way, we can have multiple layers of memory and activities. So a lot of learning has taken place at one level, then that learning is transferred to another level, and you now have multiple layers of plenty of memory. And that assemblage enables the computer to perform in a manner that resembles or simulates human performance. That is the basis of learning at artificial intelligence level. Now, this concept was put together by IBM in order to develop a machine that could play chess. That was one of the earliest successes of IBM computers with respect to artificial intelligence. Now, the man to the left is Gary Kasparov. For those of us who play chess, you are familiar with that name. He remains a champion, till tomorrow, because his skills were simply fantastic. But IBM was going to build a computer machine with deep learning features to beat him. And that was big world news. It meant that technically, that Deep Blue, as the name of the machine was in 1997, became the world chess champion. A non-human with artificial intelligence beat a human with all the intelligence he had. Gary Kasparov lost to Deep Blue. Now, reasoning is at another level. True reasoning, however, involves drawing references to suit an appropriate situation. AI has derived significant success from programming in order to draw inferences that simulate deductive and inductive reasoning. In science, we do a lot of inductive reasoning rather than deductive reasoning. In logic, in mathematics, in biostatistics, probabilistic reasoning, we do a lot of deductive reasoning. But we need to bring much of this together in order to provide evidence for whatever we do. Now, one major challenge, however, in artificial intelligence is that the automation of inferences, relevant to specific situations, is yet to be satisfactorily done. In other words, AI provides specific solutions, in specific situations only based on previous memory or deep learning or some other features. It cannot by itself automate to address specific situation. It must depend on some form of input or learning. Now, problem solving in AI involves a systematic search through a range of options in order to find a solution. Specific purpose, general purpose methods, all these are forms that are used. Perception involves the use of inputs for real or virtual sensors, like the microphone I'm holding now, the video cameras here, all these receive signals. They can be used to scan the environment as you would for, let's say, a self-driven car that is mounted with so many cameras and sensors to study the environment. The scanning done in the environment produces repeated mapping that is used, all right, to determine safe movement, safe directions, and so on and so forth. Language is a system of science. You have meaning by way of invention. I must emphasize ChatGPT here as one that has recently been compared with human language. ChatGPT is particularly fantastic. May I ask, how many people, if you've used ChatGPT here, can I see your hands up? You've used it? Yes. So I'm not surprised at all. Virtually everybody who raised their hand is a student. And you know what I mean. You know those assignments now. They don't so far. When lecturer thinks you too much, you don't know say, Once you type your open AI, by the way, I am also conscious of the fact that the older generation needs to catch up. There's no question about it. And if you're saying you're the older generation, you are just 30, 40, even 50, you need to wake up because the world has passed. Long past where you think you are. You have to at least use ChatGPT. Right now as we are talking, the register, just sign in now. Type open AI. Just type it like that in Google and press enter. Follow the prompt from there. You will know what to do. They write any question. In fact, this morning, or was it last night, I was just making fun with an exam question I asked master students some years back. I asked them to integrate two models in behavior change. Completely disconnected models, but it's possible to integrate them if you have overlapping challenges in a manner as to invite multiple models. I've never seen it done before, I've never heard of it. It's not published anywhere. Even if you search the internet, you will find it there. So I asked ChatGPT, and within seconds gave me a fantastic essay with excellent English, well constructed. And I then knew that the AI don't pass. Be careful. Yes, of course, that's from a lot of multiple levels of deep learning, language constructions, understanding grammar, and how not to make wrong sentences. And then inferences that do not make sense, you don't make them. So it's able to detect what is reasonable from what is not reasonable. Siri and Alexa comprehend human speech and engage in conversations with man. You know what you know Siri, who doesn't? If you know Siri, let me see your hand up. If you use iPhones, Larry. What of Alexa, you know? People will be few at that level, yeah. So, but you know that even Google search engine that is so widely used is grossly underutilized. What do I mean? It's in terms of quality. Okay, it's an AI application. A few days ago, in fact, that was last week, I remember a student sent me a message and said she has searched for a certain topic. She doesn't know whether anybody has done a work like that in Nigeria. She has used Google, not even one is in Nigeria. And I knew immediately that it was a method of search. So I simply rearranged the same search criteria and reorganized them properly and said, copy exactly what I have sent you now on WhatsApp and paste it on Google. Do not remove or add anything. And the message came out, whoa, I didn't know. So knowing how to use even simple tech matters a lot. Now, talking about evolution in AI is very important. A very common way of looking at evolutionary trend is to see AI as narrow, general, and super. To a large extent, super AIs are still seen as some things that are hypothetical or futuristic. But more recently, it has become necessary to review the classification. Two forms are now recognized to be the current AI era. Reactive machines, that is, for example, social media recommendations are commonly used in Instagram, even Facebook, LinkedIn. If you're on LinkedIn recommends connections, people for you to follow and all that. Those are reactive machines generating such. Now, no memory for previous choices is required for that, but data stored, okay, is dependent upon in order to make those recommendations, and the criteria are outlined based on your own profile. Task-specific and delivery being so good, a lot of findings can be very useful here. In fact, the outputs are usually very reliable, especially when it comes to inventions. Most AI inventions start from reactive machine level. Then gradually there is an upgrade to limited memory. Now this is where a self-driving vehicle can become much more fantastic in its functions. It programs previous and present choices and uses them continuously for refinement and improvement and refinement and improvement. So what you get today may not be the same as what you get tomorrow. But these are future forms of AI in the evolutionary trend. There's a theory of the mind. In this case, we are assuming or picturing or hoping that AI will develop to the point where it will have the ability to understand the world around us, including thoughts and emotions and feelings, okay, of other entities. Now, if you are interested in semantics, the word entities is used there very deliberately. It's because we don't even know what to call others. Let's just use the word entities. In other words, robots and us, we're all entities. That's what that means, by the way. So don't be offended if a robot calls you an entity. That's because we are all there together. But the highest form in our imagination is self-awareness, self-consciousness. This is cumulative upon the theory of mind. In other words, this is what helps to connect self to consciousness and society. It helps to define self-existence and then how emotions and thoughts are linked to desires. Where that happens, it then becomes possible. All right. So that's what happens. Now let's look at AI in terms of health. A lot of interest has increased in recent time because of the factors here. There's more access to data. 5G is now available, though not very accessible to many. These are just some of the common applications now in AI. We have robotics, digital secretary, machine learning, which is fundamental in modern AI. All of these are applied in different forms of practice in health. For example, many of our diagnostic images come with suggested diagnosis, findings, and things like that. Sometimes even the criteria for reaching those diagnoses. Now, what happens there often is that the images are compared to standards that have been inbuilt over a long time, and then language, remember we talked about language earlier on, is then developed to express those findings But remember, it cannot take responsibility for what it does. So we still need to do our clinical job. AI is only meant to be supportive. Now, natural language processing, which is what I've just described, also comes in here. Voice recognition. Patient voices can be captured and built into health records. Statistical analysis, especially when it comes to big data analysis, is extremely important. Big data is the secret of AI advancement. In fact, one of our major challenges in Africa, particularly in Nigeria and such countries, is that we do not take data seriously. From election data to health data to anything data. Data are not taken seriously. In fact, there are many students who think that it's just to write something now. I've taken time to explain to many students that you must collect data, you don't fabricate data. You say, hey, I thought it's just to write something. Somehow, the idea is not yet there that we need to be ethical. But when you have big data that show what is truly measured, then we can make sense out of it. Medicine, health information technology can then advance. Predictive modeling is very important. I wish Dr. Greg Kobo was here. When epidemiological modeling was done for COVID-19, I'm happy that UBC is here. You know, a lot of challenges were there, and that's because the data inputs that form the basis for the modeling was not very reliable. You can't do predictive modeling when you don't have reliable and sufficient data. All right, so hopefully we'll get there. AI and education, a lot of tools are available, voice assistants, smart content, intelligent tutoring, and virtual learning environment. Of course, now we talk about virtual reality. Gamification has become a very interesting finding. You know, those days, as a child, your parents will tell you, come on, you play too much, come on, you play, go be serious. You're not serious with your books. But the child just enjoys playing. Even as a child, I thought of the possibility of linking play to studies. I didn't play very much. I think I spent more time thinking than playing. But I also knew that if anybody loved to play, my children loved to play, quietly though. And I just thought that playing must have something to do with learning. And good enough, now we have it in AI. So when my son plays games, I'm cool with that. Initially, my wife from Oga said, shh, the guy is learning. Yes, he's an undergraduate, he plays games a lot, and when he's doing that, I don't stop him. Just be sure your academics don't suffer. So gamification has been a very powerful means of learning because it's very engaging and pleasant. Okay? Generative AI, ChatGPT is it now. It's a tool for learning. So we now have virtual classes. We know that that happens globally. But the interesting thing is that virtual reality goggles have become have come into increasing use. When combined with AI, a lot of learning and a lot of learning takes place. And people are able to go into experiences that they ordinarily would not have imagined. In fact, if you put on a pair of VR goggles for some hours and you return to Nigeria or your room, it will take you some time to reconnect. Who knows what I'm talking about? I think the young people have done. Yes, thank you very much. So, and that's where the future is going. It's an emerging future. By the way, it's not only ChatGPT that does it in terms of generative AI tools. You also have U.com. I have used U.com also. It's very good, but I think ChatGPT, OpenAI is superior. There are a few others. But are these things bad? Or they are good? Are they a blessing or a curse? Well, I would say they are good. AI is of concern to UNESCO, and UNESCO is saying that ChatGPT should come under scrutiny, but not necessarily condemnation, and countries should engage in discussions about what to do. Now, there are some concerns about AI as far as education is concerned. There are concerns that teachers will lose their jobs, personal touch with students is lessening, and then AI is expensive. Unethical practices have been identified with the use of ChatGPT, in which case students claim to have done assignments, whereas all they've done is to go beyond Google and simply download and paste. And you know what makes it even more interesting? You can re-instruct ChatGPT to redo the assignment. It will give you a new one. Just redo it. It will keep giving you a new one. It may even ask you whether the previous one was better or this was better. You know? So you can have different students who have used the same generative AI submitting different outputs. And you might just not know that that's what they did. But that's a discussion for another time. So the solution is to develop innovative methods to evaluate learners and not to kick against ChatGPT. They use appropriate measures to counter unethical practices. What happens in the future? In the next future, there will be concerns about health services, training and research, funding, and they require political will to drive artificial intelligence in health. The training of health workers with AI, all right, is an opportunity for better skills and AI-enabled service delivery. The implications for the global workforce for health is a positive one because it means that persons so trained is marketable globally. Workers, in terms of their learning and skill acquisition, also generally improve. In terms of diagnosis, a lot of algorithms for CT scans and MRI for early detection of cancer is one of those things emerging in the future. And treatment planning, drug development, including drug trials, they are all benefiting from AI, but that is yet to be at a large enough scale. The idea is to reduce the time that it takes, right, from the beginning of a drug trial to the end by depending on previously stored data. Not by bypassing research, but by making research faster. The operational management of big data is what is deeply required. Patient monitoring using wearables powered by AI can bring about big change. Now, this is Elon Musk. I think that's a familiar face. Yeah. Standing by a surgical robot that implants a brain chip called Neuralink. It was implanted in the brain of a pig and was able to read signals. In fact, when the pig sneezed, the brain signals producing that showed because the chip was able to pick it up. And then it raised hope. But what's the whole idea? Is to use AI to manage brain and spinal cord deformities and injuries so as to hopefully construct neurons or some neural connections that will fill the gap or correct those deformities. Not much has been done since then, or not much success rather, a lot has been done. On the other hand, automations in AI may predispose to loss of hands-on skills in patient care. There are concerns about this. Anytime technology improves, hands-on skills tend to be compromised. Okay? Job loss, unemployment can also happen. In the remote future, remember, is the theory of the mind and self-awareness that we are looking forward to. But are there potential threats to personhood and humanity? If you attended my class before in ethics, you know that I talk about personhood a lot. There's a difference between a human being and a person. Now, the concern is that everything must be done to preserve personhood so that humankind does not suffer. Now, for future generations, we also hope that AI can enhance devices for improved personal and public health. And then the protection of patient information is an ethical issue that is of concern because programming can either fire or misfire, and everything must be done to preserve humans. So in conclusion, we have presented an overview of AI, reviewed the application and implications for AI for future generation of health workers and patients, and recommended the way forward, which I have put together again to be of national, state, private sector interest, systematic incremental approaches as we use for national and sub-national development plans. Until we make AI a component of our national and sub-national development plans, it will not work. We'll only keep wishing for it. AI takes money. AI also brings money. Research grants should be tracked to promote research and service delivery using AI. And AI should be incorporated into curricula of all courses, no matter what you're studying, from history. Remember, a playwright was in fact the first person to use the word robot. A playwright. Unethical use should be countered using appropriate technology. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Adelaye. He's a teacher, he's a philosopher, and then he's many things all rolled into one. At this time, we would like to have two persons ask questions, following which the co-chair will give a brief summary, and then I'll come around with some recommendations for the college. So, who want to ask questions? Or good enough, the students seem to be very up to date. At least many students have used their ChatGPT. So, if there are no questions, Dr. Dyer, please hold on. Yes, I know you will have a question, but are there other people who have questions? If there are no questions, if they just me, okay, thank God there is already, okay, you have debunked that. Then who else? Oh, well, okay, all right. Are you a student or a professor in the college? Okay, okay. The student and then Dr. Adayefo. It's okay. So, please come over and you tell us your name.
My name is Owe. I'm formerly with Junior Christian. So my question is that I think some years ago, while coming in, I think when I was in pre-clinicals, I was considering choosing a career that is just thinking about what I will be a resident in. So, and I'm still doing it. But I believe one of the things that made me think that I wouldn't do pathology was because I felt like AI could process images, and maybe that histopathology part may be. So all those kind of things. My question is, is there any hope that we students can have? Because some of the careers that one is thinking of, you just find out, yeah, I want to do it, yeah, I want to do it. Is there any hope? Because it's actually making I'm not even considering that area because of those things.
So you got his question. No. Is there any hope that there will still be something for him to do? Because AI seems to be taking up everything. For example, he was thinking, histopathology, but now AI may soon make that unavailable to humans, isn't it? Good. So then Dr. Adayefo, please, so that we can have the two questions for
Thank you, sir, the chairman, for this session. Permit me to stand on the protocol that has been established. Let me thank the lecturer, my father, my mentor, I must say, for this lecture. And then my question. Yes, I heard of ChatGPT for the first time today, I must admit. It got me worried because I know very well you have institutions, especially outside this country, where final outcome for examinations are largely based on assignments. And now I also I became pleasantly aware, all the same, that our students here, they are very much at home with the app. And again, I looked at your recommendation. You have also said there are technologies, probably to identify assignments that have been generated using this app. So I want you to throw some light into this technology and to give some advice so that we as educated people who are into education can begin to know what to do so that we don't get embarrassed like this our students. I hope you got my question, sir. Yes, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Mr. Lecturer, please.
There's a song that says, Mr. Lecturer, I know the ammo. Well, thank you very much for the questions. The young man who came out talking about AI taking jobs off you is expressing an important concern. In fact, a study was done recently in China that demonstrated that about 70% of job losses for persons who created images for some social media use was traced to AI. So it's of concern. However, let us also keep in mind that AI also creates opportunities for jobs. Let me tell you why. Each time, those of us in medical sciences are even far, shall I say, luckier. Because AI cannot take responsibility for a wrong diagnosis. You will be held liable if you're a medical doctor. You're not going to say AI suggested it, therefore you missed the diagnosis. Nobody will take that nonsense from the doctor. So what does it do, therefore? It means that it creates opportunities for us as practitioners to compare what we do with what a machine does, and therefore improves learning. We can, for example, we have our own algorithms, even clinical algorithms on how to manage a labor case, which is not necessarily the same as what is done in UK among whites. There's an algorithm perhaps for managing a neonatal sepsis in UBTH. I'm not going to pick a book from London or US and say I'll follow that nonsense, what is described. No. The important thing is that we are able to understand how machines reason and hopefully use that knowledge to compare what we are doing and see if we can gain new knowledge. In other words, it creates opportunity for new research. Secondly, it helps to remind us of differentials which we may forget along the line, or differential that we may need to closely study for rare diagnoses that are not in our environment, but which a machine may have just picked and then presented. But we will not get very much there until we have big data. I must say that right away, because that will not be very helpful. In the case of pathology, let me share this. Polychromatic images are now, when you mention pathology, you mention histopathology. Polychromatic images are now generated by AI. So you can even use colors to tell the different types of cells. and even measure cellular density, percentage of cells. And they use that to look to track over time changes or growth in cancer cells. Now, who makes the diagnosis at the end of the day? You. It's you. So it's helping you in a sense. So it's not a discouragement. It should not discourage you at all. If anything, what it does is to help you handle a large number of patients at a time. One of our challenges in UBTH and in many hospitals is that it takes quite some time for data and for results to come out. A lot of things can be automated using AI. From the point the tissue is given to the machine, to the point the result emerges and all the images, all those things can be done within a very short time using AI. So it's an opportunity rather than a disadvantage. It is dependent on how you choose to use it. However, policymakers have a lot to learn. If policymakers think that by using AI they can bypass correct clinical diagnosis, that is where there might be a challenge. But the beauty of it is that at the end of the day, we don't expect that a robot can appear in court and defend its diagnosis. It will still be the pathologists. Thank you very much.
Let's clap for our... Well, let me say I stand on protocols already established. My name is Frankie Marianme. Our lecturer took us through AI, topic was AI health education, implications for the future and next generation of health workers and patients. The objective of the lecture was the AI's implication for the future, and it defined AI as a simulation of the natural intelligence by programmed digital computers using artificial neural networks in multiple layers. So it reminded us of the human brain. They took us through the history of AI that became a discipline in 1956, and that the father of AI today is reputed to be John McCarthy, who is adjudged the father of AI. He went further to the components of AI, learning, reasoning, problem solving, perception of language. And he went to talk to us about types of AIs that we know about, the common ones that are like the ChatGPT, Siri, and Alexa, and levels of language. We went to talk about how we apply AI, robotics, machine learning, image processing, voice recognition, natural language, and statistics, and mainly for big data analysis. That's where AI really comes in, handling big data. And of course, modeling, that are predictive modeling. And examples of AI tools, virtual learning, gamification, generative like a ChatGPT, like I said, Alexa, and then types of AI, and the concerns for the future that it was very expensive, like I said, and then of course, is the unethical use of AI should be watched out for. And then for the future of health education, talking about training of health workers in diagnosis and also for treatment. So that's just like trying to capture succinctly what our lecturer told us about. So I will call our chairman to wrap this up. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Mario. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of this plenary session, but I would like to make this recommendation to the College of Medical Sciences. It is obvious that the topic of discussion is very technical, and you need to learn the language of the now. It's no longer the language of the future. Many years ago, we were talking about the internet being the language of tomorrow. But now, you need to know what an algorithm is. You need to know what machine language is, what deep learning is, and the like. And these are not things you just pick. And I think the time has come for the college and the schools to begin to work out extracurricular lecture series for students. Something that should have taken the place of computer or internet 101 many years ago. But now we need to introduce our students. I'm not talking about the lecturers, but it's never too late for us to learn. We need to see how we are going to introduce our students to programming, simple coding, beginning with the simplest of the languages like Python, for instance, so that they will begin to learn how computers communicate. That is the beginning of all this, So if you are just hearing about ChatGPT, well, it's never too late to know about it. But even now, this is evoking newer courses. How do you generate prompts for ChatGPT? If you don't know about Boolean operators, how are you going to do effective search? You see? So, and or no. And you don't know about those ones, then you would not be able to make an even effective Google search. You see? Not to talk of when you now go to, do serious academic literature search. And I think it is time for us to begin to think about this for the college. And this is where we're going to draw the curtain. And we want to thank once again the College of Medical Sciences for organizing this conference. And I think I will ask, okay, Professor Mariam, you are quite, you are as tall as I am, so please come, you will do the presentation to our guest lecturer, Professor Mokwa Delay. Please kindly come up.
This is in appreciation of excellent delivery of the guest lecture, and on behalf of the College of Medical Sciences, present this to you, your lecture delivered on artificial intelligence in health and education, implications for the future generations of health workers and patients. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Announcement. We're all invited to go to Seri for lunch and then for the scientific session, please. Thank you very much. You've all been wonderful. Thank you. And then registration is here tomorrow by 8 a.m. Just let's go to Seri now for lunch. Item 7 is ready, I'm told. And then we'll have the presentation of the scientific section.